Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of In My Cousin's Basement. I am your co-host, the most. I am Tim Patrick, and with me always with me is the corn to my poo, Randu. I like your expression with that one.
I didn't like that. Was weird. It threw me off guard. It was a weird one.
Well, because we were talking about shitting before we got on the air here.
Mm-hmm. Good morning, kitties. It's
Yeah.
me, Tim Patrick.
No, you're not
Shitting
Tim,
corn.
I'm Tim Patrick.
Okay. What are we talking about today, Tim?
No, today we got a plethora, if you will, of things. We brought up some random stuff that's been on our mind because it's been a while since we've casted.
Mm-hmm.
You know what, a couple months or so at least.
At least since January, I think.
January or right before Christmas or right around Christmas. It was before Christmas time.
Probably right. It was around Christmas time, and then life started happening again because everybody was off of PTO and doing stuff, and life started coming back together.
Yeah, and now it's time to recharge and start the new year off with a newer podcast.
Sweet. So 2024, our
Yay.
off the cuff podcast, as I would call it. I guess we got some good topics I wrote down today, or Tim. Not really topics; they're more just off the cuff, random questions and stuff. So, sorry, technical difficulties with Tim's leg. He
He came off.
it came off. So, yeah, back to what I was saying was this podcast is more off the cuff, just a bunch of topics randomly. Me and Tim are go back and forth on. So, how about you start it today, Tim? And
Why
I'll
should I
start.
start?
Yeah, I think it's your turn to start the podcast.
Let's put my notes
After
here.
the 21s I've started.
The 21. You have not started on 21 of them.
I know. How many are we up to now? 16,
I think
17?
we're 14 or 15.
14 or 15? Cool.
Something like that. I know it's more than 13 or about 13.
All right. Well, I'll start it since Tim's taking his sweet
I
time.
just got it the second you fucking said that, you asshole. All right, this is going to be like a top list, like things you would blank, blank, blank.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm thinking here is you're stranded on a desert island.
Okay.
You can only have certain things.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and of course we will bypass things of saying you need like $1,000 or 1,000-mile extension cord to run your TV or something like that. We'll bypass the semantics of it all.
Mm-hmm.
Just in general, what would be who or two people you would want on that island with you?
2 people on my island.
But okay, then let me ask that. Do you have a worst enemy or someone you hate very, very, very much?
Probably, but I don't want to name him on the podcast.
Is it a guy or is it a relative that I'm thinking of?
Well, it could be both. I guess it could be relative or
One of them.
friends.
Has to be one.
It has to be one of them.
Yeah, if you want to think them in your head without telling anybody.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. If it's a relative, you can say it. I don't give a
Yeah,
fuck.
it's May May.
Okay. Is that who it is?
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
we'll put her down.
Okay. But she gets the better end of it. So
Okay.
like if you just throw it out there, if I say you have to pick 2 dogs, you say Bobo and Z, and then she would have probably like Lassie and somebody else that's helpful.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So if you had 2 people stuck on the island with you besides her, who would they be? You have to put up with them for the rest of your life.
I mean, this sounds so dumb and cliche, probably.
All
Huh?
right. All right, go ahead.
If I had to put them the rest of my life, I mean, one would have to be a woman like my wife or something because I have to have sex. So
Okay.
it's just what it is.
I mean, you could jerk it and
yeah,
everything
but
all the time.
that gets old.
But it happens when you get older. That's what happens.
What? When you get older? I mean, when you get married,
Yes,
you get
yeah,
older.
exactly.
Right? So I'm sorry, fellas, if you hear about that. It's the truth.
Okay, your wife?
Truth Earth.
Okay.
And probably my father-in-law because he's handy. So like if anything we needed to work on or do something, we would come up. He's really good at coming
He
up
would
and
be
brainstorming ideas and coming up with stuff. So probably him. This is just on a whim, right? Thinking about
Just
it.
those 2. Nobody else. You can't say anybody else.
Nobody else. Okay.
Yeah, you can't say, well, I would do this guy with that. No. It has to be those 2 people.
Okay.
I guess I can see that because, like, you like you said, you don't want to be alone without a woman there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Dan's more like handyman, like you said. He could be like the professor. He could make you a radio with
He's like a friend, but handyman, and he's been around the block for 50 years, so he knows his round, away with
So
stuff.
have you. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, well, I'm more the technology person. He's more the hands-on person. I mean, I'm both, whatever. But if we needed to build shelter or do something or whatever, I know we could figure it out together. We would figure things out.
Right, because you can't get a bunch of leaves and just sleep in that, huh?
Yeah, and you can't just get 3 seashells to shit in. So and wipe your ass with. What do you do with 3 seashells?
There actually is a thing on I found in Google that you can actually they tell you what the 3 seashells, how it works, like what the 3 seashells are used for and how it's used.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of them's like you use 2 of them to scrape all the crap off your ass,
Mm-hmm.
and then the third one to get the rest of it off.
Mm-hmm.
It's like ew. Either way,
It's weird that the concept of 3 seashell can't come from Demolition Man
yeah.
for like the future, because they're like, oh, how bad toilet paper is for you or whatever, and paper or whatever, and they want to get rid of all that kind of stuff, like cutting down trees, and they're like, we'll come up with a solution to use 3 seashells to wipe your ass to scoop it in there. It's like, well, what do you do with the shit? Do you just put it in the toilet, or what do you do? Like,
Yeah.
it's just a weird concept to think about. I didn't get it as a kid. I was like, oh, I don't get
Nobody
that.
got that as a kid.
No.
I mean, they just didn't until like recently.
But
they
the best part
mentioned it.
was like he went in there and cussed and got all the paper from that and wiped his ass with it.
Yeah, he kept cussing, and so he get the fines.
Yeah. So obviously you've had time to think about this question. So what else what do you say?
Of course, I'd pick Jen. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, you can't be alone all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I
I mean, that makes sense as a man. Like, I mean, even a woman, though. I mean, wouldn't you want someone to be comforted with and be
Yeah.
someone with? I mean, I wouldn't want to be there with 2 dudes. I mean, if I had to be with be good 2 friends, I mean, it'd probably like you or someone else. But
right.
if that was the question, but for me, it's like you gotta have a comfortable woman, and plus jerking
Right.
off is awful. So
Dude, if you had me there, you could just kill me and start eating me. You'd eat up there for years.
fuck that, dude. I'd rather just die.
Or at least cut my other leg off. I've done one with one for a long time anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. The second one would probably be. I don't know who it is for modern days, but like for like a Bob Vila, like another handyman, like
Uh-huh.
you were saying, because I don't know any other real handyman. Gesundheit. Nope. There it
Allergy, sorry.
is. Yeah, that's fine. There's the bullshit.
I mean, I'm kind of like Bob Vila, but just not there yet. I haven't been.
Right.
I'm not wise. I've been there for doing it for 30 years. I've only
Right.
been doing it for
Or
10.
even if I don't say Bob Vila, then I would probably say somebody like Bear Grylls to teach you to live off the island.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing. Someone who's a survivalist or something
Yeah,
like
thank
that.
you. The
right?
survivalist. That's
Yeah.
weird.
There's some guy that's always on Rogan that's really good, and he does the same thing where he goes out in the woods and he teaches people to survive in the woods, and he can he does archery and guns and everything, and he just teaches them like, hey, all you need the basics is like this, like something to purify and clean water, some type of knife that has like a flint rock and like all this stuff that's like a like the
Yeah, but
ultimate Swiss Army knife.
who's going to carry around a flint rock with him all the time?
No, but he's just saying like people that go out in the wilderness. He was teaching them like if something ever happened to you, like if you broke your leg or something, you're fucking stuck out in the middle of nowhere with nobody, and you have no cell phone, like you had to survive, like this kind of stuff. But also there's this weird like stigmata in the world now where people are saying like they think at one day that we might have to be to a point where like people are gonna be rationing and fighting over food, and you might have to go get your own food and do that kind of stuff. If it ever came to that because of war or anything that could happen, like what are you gonna do? Like everyone's used to going to the grocery store. Like
Right.
if you actually had to go hunt for a deer or do something,
Right.
like not saying it's really gonna happen, but it could happen, right?
I can see that people resorting to cannibalism more than killing deer because it's hard. Most people can't kill an animal. Those are too damn fast. People, they're easy to catch and stuff like that. It's just me saying this.
If I'm that hungry and with YouTube, I'm figuring out how to fucking kill an animal real quick, right? It can't be that difficult.
Yeah, but
I mean, if little kids can
I'm saying not for you. I'm just saying for the average person.
yeah, I get that. I'm saying,
the kids stuck on their phones and stuff like that.
I'm not saying it's easy by any means either.
Right.
It's definitely difficult.
Right.
But yeah, it's not one of my hobbies to go out and just kill animals and do stuff. So just
Right.
never been in that either. But that's a good question. I've never. I mean, I've thought about that question before. Like, what do you do if you're stranded on an island? You can only do this. Like, they asked Arnold Schwarzenegger in the documentary. I remember going like, if you're stranded on an island, what machine would you use to work out? And he's like, I would have the Smith machine because I can do every workout on that. So like he already knew that answer because he's been doing it forever. But
The Bowflex.
Huh?
The Peloton.
yeah, the Bowflex. Dude, those Pelotons are really expensive, but they're also a terrible gimmick because like people who ride bikes. I was reading some shit on Reddit, and I've been really in the Reddit game. Like ever since COVID happened, I noticed I'm Reddit more or whatever,
same
just
here.
reading stuff.
Yeah.
And they talked about like the idea of the Peloton is really great. Like you get on there and you can turn your screen on, and you always got a personal trainer that's always going. You can join a class and just work out or do stuff. But the people that don't realize it's like you have to buy special shoes for your Peloton too, so that fit your feet to fit into the bike. So you're looking at a couple $100 spent on some made up fucking shoes. You can't just wear regular shoes.
Right.
And also most of the people I know that have them within a year to 6 months, people are selling them
Yeah.
because they don't use them. Right.
Yeah.
A lot of people, what they get is these stationary things at home, and they put their bike on it and they connect to it, and then they can connect to an app on the TV, and it looks like a game, and you like race people in the game and do stuff. And these people are really into biking also, right?
Of course.
I don't think the average person gets on a bike every day and wants to ride a bike.
No.
I mean, most people, they say if they ride a bike, they'd rather go outside and ride a bike.
Yeah.
Something weird about, I mean, just like walking on my treadmill at home, I've got burnt out on it, dude. I'm sick of walking on a treadmill at home in front of my desk when I'm working. So I got a tread desk. So it's cool, but for a while I was like, this sucks, dude. I'm like, so I moved it. And now I use my chair there. So I'm standing up or using my chair, and then sometimes I bring it in. But to each their own, you know, whatever people are into. But yeah, the Peloton,
Double-edged sword.
it's definitely a double-edged sword. You know, some people need outside, some people don't. I'm so burnt out of being inside after the winter now. I like now the spring's here.
Hopefully.
Yeah, well, my allergies suck, but like I've been feeling better. Like getting
Good.
the sun and being outside, you just start feeling better. I don't know what it is. Probably because my mood's better. I think that has something to do with it too. You know,
You had a recharge in January, so, you know.
he did, and then I'm getting back to my ways of getting burnt out with work. I'm kind of getting sick of being at work.
SSGD.
Well, I think there's this, you know, with good companies like the one I work at, you drink the Kool-Aid for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people that do that. It doesn't matter what business you work at. Like when you get a new job, you're pretty excited about working there, right? I'm sure
Right,
when
of
you
course,
you worked at the radio station,
Because you don't know how it is, you know.
you know how it is. You're meeting new people, and it's exciting. And then once you get in for a while, you're like, hey, okay, it's cool, and the people are cool. And then eventually you're like, okay, this is starting to wear off, all the corporate bullshit. And now that we've gotten bigger, we're more corporate. We're more like by the book and doing stuff. And it's like, it wasn't the small business and fun it used to be. Now it's more like, hey, like, you guys
Professionalism, adulting, and
yeah,
meetings.
I mean,
and-
there's still some really great benefits about it, and I'm not going to name anything about it just in case anybody ever listens to us. But the reality is, it's just I've lost the hype about it. You know, after being there almost 14 years, I'm like, you know, it's just a job to me now. It's you know, cool. I got a career job. I'm glad I have a good job, but at the same time, I want something new. I think I'm getting to that point where like I might look out for something new. Not saying I want to, but
See, it goes back to that old saying is, you know, do what you love and love what you do. And if you don't love it no more, you know, find something else.
well, I think a lot of it has to do with the people you work with too. Like I like the
Yes.
people I work with, right? And I've told my coworkers the other day, it's like if it wasn't for you two guys I work with and my boss that I've worked with for over 10 years, that now is my boss, was my coworker before, it's like I would have left already.
Right.
Because I just not enjoying it. I mean, working from home is great, but when you're working from home, working on shit you don't give a fuck about, it doesn't make it that great. You know, it's like you said, like if you're not enjoying what you're doing, it's just becoming like it's like a broken record. You just it's rinse and repeat every week, and it's like, okay, what do I do this week or whatever. And obviously, there's good days and bad days with anything at work, but it's not my career ideal choice. I'm starting to realize it's like I kind of leaped into something and said, hey, I'm gonna jump with both feet in and do this.
You're kind of like Mario. You've met the princess is another castle. You know, you beat the gate. You're at the final the castle at the end of the world, whatever, and then you got a little toad that says, you know, the princess is another castle. I was like, fuck.
Yeah,
okay, I thought I beat this.
It's kind of like you're at the crossroads. There's like, or the old saying of the fork in the road. I've said before. It's like either I can go into management and go up for my job where I'm at, or I continue down my career path and go up 2 more levels, but then I got to play the game for how many more years to get to those levels or whatever. Or I can find a different job and do something similar, but just something that's more what I'm into.
Right.
So I don't know. It's weird. And I'll move on to the next topic though. It's like when I first got into IT, working the service desk I thought was going to be like the coolest job ever, and it was for the first like 3 or 4 years. I fucking loved it, dude. I loved working with people, working on computers, always being up on the tech and doing stuff. And you get burnt out doing that too. Like,
Of course, yeah.
who wants to be on the phone talking to people and helping customers all the time? It's like it was cool for a while. It got old, but now being on the other end of the spectrum, like I want to be an engineer and do all this other stuff. I kind of miss being on a service desk. So like I wouldn't mind going back. Maybe as a manager or doing something like that. Maybe
Right.
do something down the road. But I don't know. I don't even know why I'm fucking talking about this.
Yeah, we always get off topic.
Yeah. So I don't know. IT jobs are great, but like any job, they get their
They suck after a while.
yeah. I mean, it runs out in their life expectancy of it. So
Right.
all right. So for my first topic,
Hey, I'm not done.
you're not.
That was just a sub subject.
Oh really? Okay. Go ahead.
Other top two things for you.
Uh huh.
If you were stuck on the island, of course, everything we just said earlier, what would be 2 foods that you could bring, and that's all you could eat from the rest of the time?
2 foods.
Only 2.
Well, I'd have to bring something good that I could eat all the time. I mean, fuck, that sucks because you like everything you eat. There's consequences of what you eat all the time, right?
Exactly. And you're like I said, you're stuck with it.
Stuck with it. Okay, one would be eggs.
Okay.
I love eggs, and they're good in protein, and they're good for you.
So universal, you could make so many different ways of eggs.
I'm saying there's so many things you can make eggs. Sure, you get
Yeah.
burnt out of them, but eggs would be one of them for sure. Man, another food. It's gonna be like lunch, dinner, anything, right?
Any food. You could say a certain place, pizza place, whatever, if you wanted to too, or not place, but what kind of their pizza.
I want to say pizza just for the simple fact that I can eat pizza like every day or whatever.
Right.
But I would become a fat ass real quick on an island. But I mean, maybe not because I'm not.
Yeah, you're not.
You're not going to be doing it. I mean, I might
Sweating
be
your
active
ass
and
off
doing
all
stuff.
day and shit. Yeah.
It'd have to be pizza or chicken. One
or
or two.
chicken. Okay.
Maybe chicken pizza.
There you go. I'll allow it.
I had to do one of those two because just for the simple fact, well, you need meat.
Yeah, of course.
You need some
Yeah.
type of meat in your body. So it'd probably be one of those two, dude. It'd probably be chicken and I'd say chicken and that as much as I love pizza. So one of those two.
Yeah.
What about you?
What? Probably be either steak or chicken. More likely to be steak, and potatoes, because potatoes are so universal. Again, you can fry them, you could grill them, you could bake them, you could, all kinds of shit with them.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, you can make vodka.
Mm-hmm.
Or like you said, eggs is a very universal thing too. That. But if I had really, really thought about it, yeah, pizza would probably be up there.
It's such an easy thing to make. And there's so many different ways you can make pizza, which is a great thing too. I mean, same thing with your eggs or whatever. I mean, pizza was probably right there too. And it's my favorite food is pizza. I mean, I eat it once a week.
Yeah, same
Pizza.
here.
We do pizza Fridays.
Yeah.
It's been a tradition in my house for a while since we've had. Before I even had my kids, me and my wife were like, "What's something we can have?" And it's like, she never liked pizza. I've told this before the story, but we started eating pizza every Friday and going different pizza places, which was cool. Like, let's go to a different pizza place every week and try new stuff. So that's what we still continue to do that trend. I think we're gonna do one this week. We're gonna try a new place or whatever. But it's always so good. But if I ate it every day, I mean, of course you're gonna get burnt out in there, man. It doesn't matter what you eat, right?
Yeah, but
I mean, I would put my eggs on my pizza at that point, right? If I was.
Dude, they
saying-
actually have breakfast pizzas.
I've never had one.
Oh, it's good. It
it-
depends on where you get it from.
Right.
It's usually like the gravy is supposed to be like the tomato sauce, of course, cheese, eggs on top of that, and sausage or bacon or whatever. It's fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, I probably need to try that.
It's
I've,
good.
I've heard good things about from people who make it, and obviously it'd have to be a company that actually is well known for doing whatever they're making.
course.
So, okay, what's your last part of it?
I still got more for it, so no, more just last.
Mm-hmm.
All right, if you could only watch 2 TV shows, and this is one of those you can't say either or. You have to say only 2. What 2 TV shows would you be stuck on the island with?
Dude, well, obviously one's gonna be South Park, so because there's so many episodes, I could watch it forever.
Right.
And it'd be hilarious. I would laugh. I just would never get burnt out of it.
Yeah.
I'll just be honest, because I'm not burnt out of it now after 25 years.
I could totally. I don't know why this just popped in my head. Sorry to interrupt you.
No,
with
you're
it.
good.
I could totally see kind of like like a Castaway kind of thing, or like Tom Hanks thing, where you're stuck on the island and a boat finds you. You're halfway dead, and you're just going, "Screw you guys, I'm going home. Screw you guys, I'm going home." Going insane and shit.
I think anybody living on an island would be fucking insane after about 6 months.
Not even that shit, dude.
Probably less time than that.
Exactly.
Because you lose all
Sense of time and stuff like that. Yeah.
yeah.
Unless you find like you put notches in the tree or something like that.
Well, I think you kind of get a sense of time. You start figuring out time and like the way things move or whatever. But yeah, that would be kind of fucking insane thinking about
And
it.
what's your other one?
Their TV show. What would be my next TV show? I have to say, dude, this is gonna sound stupid, but I don't care. It'd be fucking Dexter. I'd watch Dexter. I love Dexter, and I watch it a couple
Yeah.
times a year, and
Yeah.
I could watch Dexter anytime.
Yeah,
Dexter's just a really good show. I don't know what it is. It's something about it that just makes me happy. Oh, you know what? It had to be Dexter, or it had to be Entourage. I fucking
pick one. Yeah, only can pick one.
You know what? If I had to pick, fuck, this is hard because I love both of them.
Exactly.
It'd be Dexter, dude. Dexter's so good. It's such a good show. Entourage is a great show too, but Dexter would have it'd take it for me all day.
Right. For me, it would have to be, of course, me being the way I am, had Beggar's Ball because I gotta have my music, and it was on for so long and stuff like that. And there's different genre of music or different parts of metal music. That and Married with Children, I think.
I knew you were gonna say that. I knew you were gonna say that because you told me earlier that you always wanted to be Al Bundy when you were a kid.
That's what I am.
I remember that from
minus the kids. I am the Married with Children.
Yeah,
I am Al Bundy, of course.
you are. That's pretty cool.
Right.
I mean, I didn't think about that either. I mean, I didn't think about any sitcoms I could have put on there too, but
Well, you played South Park. That's kind of a sitcom.
I guess it is.
But,
Yeah, still
All
comedy.
right. What about 2 movies? And again, no either ors. You have to pick 2 movies.
2 movies.
Yes.
Why don't you go and let me think about it for a second? Because there's so many fucking movies.
I know, right? I did think about this a little bit, but not very. I was not thinking very much into it because I was making you go first. It had to be something Mel Brooks. It'd have to be either like Blazing Saddles or Spaceballs. But I would, if I had to pick one, it would be Blazing Saddles.
Mm-hmm.
Second one. Fuck, man. It has to be a horror movie. It has to be Halloween.
I already know what I knew you were going to say that. I was waiting for you to say
that or Evil Dead, but it would have to be. It had to be Halloween. Need a place to spit?
No, I'm good. Your mom.
Oh.
Let's see. I think. I mean, I have like 3 top 4 or 5 top favorite movies.
Only 2.
I know. If I had to pick 2, I'm gonna pay homage to our best friend Kevin Smith, and I would pick Clerks, just because I need something to laugh.
Yeah,
and if I didn't have something to laugh and something that made me feel comfortable at home, then I'd need something like that. So Clerks would definitely be one, just for the simple fact that I don't know, I just love that.
Because it's Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith, and I just love that movie.
Right.
Second one. Man, this is hard. This is really hard because I have so many good movies.
See, originally I was going to say top 5, but I'm like, no, that's too many. That's too many.
Yeah.
You have to pick 2.
2. This movie would get burnt out really quick, but I wouldn't care. It'd have to be The Matrix, dude, because in The Matrix, I love Keanu Reeves.
I never got into those fucking movies.
It's a movie. It got me into technology and got me into a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
I like.
I get that.
I like the fact that he's a hacker. He works for a technology company. He does something. The idea that we could be turned into a giant battery to produce a computer generated world because we destroyed the world with the computers and got in a fight with technology, which is kind of at that stage now where AI could kind of take over and do that kind of stuff, right?
Terminator. Skynet's taken over.
I liked it, and I liked the fact they're fighting. I always thought that was cool that they could upload anything into their brain in a second. Like, oh, you need to fly a helicopter, whatever you want, a million guns or whatever. Like,
fuck yeah, dude, that'd be great.
Stuff like that just sounded fucking cool. In the year 2000, when anything was possible, we just had the flip cell phone, and they made that thing in the cell phone where when they hit a button to fucking
extend it, whatever.
extend it, whatever.
Yeah.
That was CGI. That wasn't a real phone.
Right.
That was really cool. The bullet dodging. I mean, just stuff that revolutionized stuff with like the film industry, what they did during that time.
Yeah,
so
special effects and stuff.
Special effects. Plus Keanu Reeves is my favorite actor. So I mean, he's got a shit ton of movies. It'd be either that or John Wick. So if I had to pick one,
I could see that.
John Wick would be so good to watch. I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna make it John Wick.
John Wick.
John Wick. I could watch any day of the week, dude.
Okay.
He's a badass in that movie.
He killed a man with a pencil.
Fucking pencil. Those are movies that I fucking love. Matrix is one of the closest movies still to me. It was something that I remember going and seeing it in movie theaters like 3 times because I couldn't fucking figure out what was going on in the movie. I'm like, because I was young. I was like, what the? I'm like, I got most of it. I'm like, well, what the fuck was this, and this? And a lot of people are like, I didn't know that. And if you read the books, you understood it. But if you didn't read the books,
well, that's why you leave it up to our interpretation too.
There is a lot of stuff that's open for interpretation. But yes, the first one, if I had to pick one, but yeah, John Wick probably for me.
Okay.
I had to do.
Okay.
I changed my answer.
Maybe music fan that I am. What 2 albums? Not groups, albums.
Mm-hmm.
And they can't be box sets or anything like that. They have to be 1 CD albums, unless it's like Pink Floyd, the Wall's got 2 discs to it. But 1 album or 2 albums.
2 albums. Fuck, that's hard because there's so many bands that I like that are from the 90s that I could put into that category.
And to sweeten it a little bit, you have to listen to it them every day.
Every day?
Yes.
Not
on repeat, but just like you still have to listen to it every day.
Well, you're probably gonna get all butthurt about this.
It's your music. If you want to fucking put Pat Boone on there, I don't give a shit.
Pat Boone for sure. The Jerky Boys first CD.
Madonna.
If I had to pick one, well, from my childhood, it's gonna be Linkin Park's first CD.
Jesus Christ.
Because I liked their first album. It was fucking awesome. Suck my dick. And second one, man, this is gonna be tough. There's so many good ones. I mean, I could pick Tool. I could pick Metallica.
Which Tool would you pick? I'm interested.
That's hard too.
Because one song is the whole album.
I know. Fuck. I mean, because their songs are 20 minutes fucking long.
Right. Exactly.
Man, this is a put me on the spot because music's just it's such a deep
exactly.
category, and there's so many good bands.
And you have to, yes, you've been listening to it your whole entire life now or whatever, but that's, not every single day. Because some people can't put up with that.
Man, I like some hard rock too, or some music too. I don't know, man. That's hard for me. I mean, I already know once in a year is going to be Metallica, so I don't know if I can answer that.
It's Master of Puppets already. I'll tell you that.
I'd have to say Killswitch Engage, man, but I don't know which album. I can't remember which album I'd probably pick. It'd probably be the first or second one if I did pick one of the two.
First or second, which, like, when they first started out, or with Howard?
With Howard.
Okay, that would be Heartless, isn't it? Or the one with the heart on End of Heartache?
No, they had a different one that was the first. The first singer wasn't Howard.
Yeah, I know. I had that CD. That's just Live or Just Breathing.
Yeah, no, it'd be the second one. It'd be the first one with Howard on it.
That would be the End of Heartache.
Okay, well, that's one. Yeah, that would probably be the one I'd want.
Okay.
I could listen to that all the time. I like that album. That was a good album for me.
For me, my second, obviously, like we said, Master of Puppets would be my first one, and my second one, that one would be very hard because it's just so many things I'd want to hear, and I listen to at least the band every single day, but not that album. I have to be a Slayer one, maybe Fear Factory. Fuck. Yeah, I think I changed that. Fear Factory Demanufacture. Just because the first time I ever heard it, I just like fucking fell in love with it. Usually it takes me a couple times listens to like it and stuff like that. Even with Metallica, some earlier than Metallica stuff, But Demanufacture, first time I heard it, I'm like, this is my album right here.
It's hard. I'll be honest with you. The same thing with Linkin Park when I was a kid. When I heard that music, I listened to the album. I get the first couple songs. I'm like, yeah, this is all right. And then like one of the songs came on. I can't remember what it was. They're one of their singles.
In the end.
No, it wasn't in the end because that's later.
Crawling or Closer.
I think it was Crawling or Paper Cut. I think it was in the first album or whatever.
Yeah, that was the first song. Yeah.
I really liked that song, and I remember because, and this is stupid as it is, but when I played Counter-Strike and I played like semi-professional and like right underneath that, you would take your best clips because we'd always record. You have to record when you play or whatever to make sure you're not cheating or whatever when you play League. Well, after the year, if you had a lot of good clips or like things that you would do, you would compile and make it into like a video or whatever.
Yeah, greatest hits kind of thing.
Yeah, of like whoever it was. We do like you do a team one or whatever, or you could do one of just like yourself. Well, I did like a team one, but then I did one of myself, and the one of myself I did it ended up being like 10 minutes long because I had so much footage and I liked it. I'm so mad that I lost it because it took me like a year to make this, and I did like all these cool edits and like zoom ins and zoom outs, and you get to use your best music along with it. So I did like Tool Schism and like a bunch of fucking cool songs around that time. Dude, I fucking love that. I have like deep burn in my head. I'm like, and I still have my first hard drive from my first gaming computer that I saved when I got rid of it, just because I thought I would still be on there. But I think it just got lost to the abyss. It sucks. But anyway, that's where I kind of remember falling in love when Linkin Park came around. The time, like, I'm gonna put this in my fucking clip thing and showed all my friends. I thought it was the coolest thing ever or whatever. But yeah, just around that time, I guess because of the hype of alternative music. You know, just one of those
Right.
things. There's so many good alternative bands around my time, but I'm picking them because I don't know. I just when I first heard them, I'm like, man, these guys are so good.
Yeah.
I love them. But I never got to see them in concert though. That sucks. It pisses me off. The one time I wanted to go see them in concert, I didn't get to go. But I remember my friend Rory got to go, and he came back with a T-shirt. And I'm like, fuck you, dude. You got to bring a T-shirt and get me one.
Right?
You know.
Fucker.
Yeah. So, any more?
Yes, one last one.
Okay.
No internet
Mm-hmm.
whatsoever. Only 2 devices.
Mm-hmm.
What would you bring?
Again.
Again, you can have a 1,000-foot extension cord to plug in a TV or something like that, but you have only 2 devices.
Does that count? You have to pick a TV to count to watch all your stuff, or you're including TV because you pick TV shows and bullshit?
No, it's totally different.
Totally
It has to
different.
be- yeah. Except with no internet, so you can't stream, can't go on the internet, you can't play games, any of that shit.
Well, I picked my Nintendo Switch because I can bring it with me and plug it in and fucking play with it anywhere. So with my games and.
But you can't. Are they online? Are you actual games? Or
No,
are they
just regular
online?
physical games.
Okay,
Game
okay,
games, whatever.
Okay.
For one, because I could play a lot of. Well, actually, I can't because they're not backwards compatible. Well, not backwards compatible, but I don't have online to play their games. But
Right.
I at least have the physical games I could play on there.
Right.
Man, they're both gonna be some type of console. I know it's just what it is.
Yeah.
Since I can't pick any games that I played online.
Right.
It'd have to be Nintendo 64 because there's so many fucking good games on 64
Yeah.
between GoldenEye and Mario and just Super Smash and just all those games.
Conquers, man. Come on.
Conker's
I mentioned
bad for a
Conker's.
day.
Come on, dude. I love that game.
Any of those games on that would be probably it'd have to be Nintendo stuff because they're just so the catalog. Does it count? I can put any games in there what I want,
Right.
whatever. So
Right.
it'd have to be those 2 things.
Mine would either be a 64 or a Super Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
But
God, Super Nintendo would probably be there too. Fuck.
maybe even PlayStation. You know, the earlier ones. That and or
All right, I'm gonna change my answer. It ain't gonna be fucking. It ain't gonna be Switch anymore. It's gonna be fucking Super Nintendo because the catalog games that are on there were so much better than any other fucking era of games. I'm sorry, fuck anybody who doesn't think so. Between that and 64, you can't beat those days of Nintendo.
all right. I'd have a giant screen TV, biggest one I could find, maybe like a movie screen kind of thing, and probably like I said, a console like 64 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it's to play video games, keep occupied, man.
You have to have something to keep you busy.
Yeah, if
Right.
not, you're gonna
It keep-
drive yourself insane.
Right. You have to have some type of outlet, and that would be our best form of an outlet.
Right.
That's a good idea to have a big screen TV for like movies and doing stuff. But
But you don't have the movies though. You can only do just the TV.
just a TV.
yeah,
Okay.
and you could watch normal. 60 whatever channels it has now.
Mm-hmm.
Basic cable. I'll let you have that little loophole.
Basic cable.
You can only have basic cable.
Okay.
No channel 5. All right, that's the last one of that one.
All right. Here's my first off the cuff question. Is there a lack of originality in 2023, 2024 with culture? Or are we just getting older and nothing seems original anymore?
That's a good question.
I know. I've been thinking about some shit. This is what happens.
We haven't been enough 2024 yet to say, but I've seen a lot of.
Well, let's just say within the last year. We'll just call it from year from
Okay.
now or whatever. I just put in that because I put 23 and 24 together. You could say in the last 5 years for all I give a shit. How about just our culture in general? We don't even take the year out. It's just is there a lack of originality
Yes.
in our culture now, or are we just getting older and nothing seems original anymore because of our age? Right.
Yeah, I think it's just there is no originality.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't care how old you get. If you're, 60-something years old, if you keep seeing the same fucking movies in Hollywood or anything like that, it's same fucking thing over and over again. It doesn't fucking matter. You're just rolling, keeping the wheels spinning basically, but nothing original is coming out.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many like movies or albums or something like that that sound good or whatever, but again, they pulled that from something, so they're not unoriginal. They're very unoriginal. Same thing with TV and culture and clothes, because Bell Bombs came back for a while,
Yeah.
Jenkos came back for a while.
Mhm.
Again, not an original idea.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's original anymore. Everything is a carbon copy or at least a normal copy of something already.
Yep.
I mean, look at Funkos. Funkos, we had Beanie Babies, same fucking thing. They look different, yeah, but same fucking thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's all the same bells and whistles, I guess you could say.
Right.
It's just nobody is coming up with anything original anymore, and the people who try to do it, like movies or something like that, they just fail miserably because that's not what people want.
Right. I
You know,
agree. I
they,
agree.
they make
I
what
agree.
they want to make, and not everybody agrees with it.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with everything you said. To me, in this day and age, it's a double-edged sword. There you go. I had to say it.
You did earlier.
You didn't know that was coming.
No, you said earlier.
No, but I said it for real this time.
Now you mean it.
Yeah, I mean it. The way I look at it is the originality for us. Like you just said, you nailed it pretty dead on. Like every 20 years, styles come back, right?
Not even that. Shit.
It's supposed to be every 20 years, right?
Yeah.
Like from the 80s was starting to be in the 80s, 90s came back in like the early 2000s, or 2000s are starting to come back in the 2020 now or whatever.
Already, yeah.
Right. I mean, it's already 20 years since I've been on high school, and it's already seemed like, hey, I'm starting to see like trends back from like when I was a kid. Like I didn't know if you knew this, but 2024, I just found out this. I was reading the other day. A trend that's coming back is the prep trend. Remember when preppiness was like a big thing with Abercrombie and all that bullshit and stuff? Apparently that's like hitting, it was at a fashion show like a couple years ago, and now it's hitting like the West Coast and all this other stuff, and it's like, okay, well, let that one die. Like, it's like, it's not even like being preppy. It's like, if you just dress nice, people just like to dress nice. Like, who gives a shit?
That's fine.
Right?
The same, life after high school is not high school, man.
I know, but putting prep behind it sounds stupid. It makes it sound like you're part of like some pep rally or something that people are excluded from because you're not preppy or something. That's just the way I look at it. God damn it. So yeah, it's just weird, man. That and I think the other stuff of the originality is, I mean, besides clothes and stuff like that, you said the movies. Obviously, we already talked about this millions of times in the podcast, but like the rebooting shit is out of control. I mean, if they're redoing, Don't Tell Mom That the Babysitter's Dead and they're just blackwashing it with all black people, it's like, okay, how about just do a new movie and we won't call it that or whatever. But yeah, originality to me, with our culture, I feel like it could be a little bit to do with our age also, because we've seen it and done it all. I mean, we've lived through some of the best eras. I mean, you've lived through the 80s. We lived through the 90s to 2000, 2020. I mean, everybody's going to say their eras are the best, right? Some people think that their clothes are the best in styles in the 60s and 70s or whatever, depending on when you grew up. But in my opinion, and I think there's a lot of merit that is behind this with a lot of people, I think between the 80s and 90s, between movies and music, we really hit the hype and peak of stuff and fashion. So a lot of stuff doesn't seem that original anymore. And I think that's part of the double-edged sword that I'm talking about, is it's hard to top what's going on. I mean, the biggest thing we've said in a long time is the smartphone is the most original thing. But I'll give credit when credit's due. Like, there has been original ideas that come out with movies. Like Stranger Things was original idea. No one had anything like that. Or there's still original ideas of movies coming out. But you're correct. The nostalgia feed off of what we go off of and do nowadays is really big now. It's a huge thing with our generation and some of the even younger generations to feed off nostalgia. It's actually one of my topics is nostalgia drives entertainment. I guess I can just bleed into it real quick and just put those two together. Is nostalgia now drives entertainment. I was reading something about it, about how nowadays kids are wanting to get back into good music. When I say good music, I mean music that actually requires talent and plays bands and does shit, right?
Instruments,
right?
Not computers,
right? Not computers. I'm not saying computers isn't a talent. I'm just saying that people have to actually physically do something that requires a skill set, not just clicking buttons and moving meters and stuff. And the reason I say this is because there's a trend this year for the same thing, that people are going back and wanting the older bands and older stuff. Obviously, we see bands coming back and more tributes and more doing shit. Like, this is their last tour because they're coming back and doing stuff so they can make $80 million off of their tour or whatever because they don't have enough money. Mm-hmm. And I say that because it's just funny to see that how nostalgia is really hitting hard everything now. I mean, you see it on Reels. I mean, how many Reels do I see you with? I send you with nostalgia stuff. I'm sure you want to kill me all the time with all the nostalgia stuff I send you. Sometimes it's really cool and it hits.
Oh yeah, it hits you.
It hits the feels really good, but then you see it's like, okay, now there's a marketing behind nostalgia. Like, people are advertising you things with games or with music or something that makes you go back to a different time. So you want to spend money and do stuff on things that make you miss the good times. And something put this in perspective. I was reading this on Reddit the other day. and maybe you can kind of, talk about this as well, is obviously everybody grows up different, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
So everybody experiences things different. So like when the first time you do anything, it's exciting to you, right?
Of
And
course.
you label that, or you grab on or gravitate towards that with nostalgia. And after you do it 10 to 15, 20 times, it's not nostalgic anymore or whatever. It's become just a routine. But as you get older, you kind of forget about that kind of stuff. But then you kind of realize too, when you hear something about that and you're like, hey man, I remember the first time I did X, Y, and Z. And if you can relate that with somebody else, that's your nostalgia for something. It could be anything. It could be the first time you picked a piece of corn on a farm, or the first time you rode a scooter. I mean, it could be anything, right? And you just associate that with your childhood or something, a fond memory or whatever it is. That's to me is why nostalgia hits so hard, especially now. And now I think it's more of a trend because they do it more in social media. And I think that's probably the problem. Like, I don't have TikTok, but I could almost bet if you're on TikTok, there's a algorithm of people that just sit there and do shit for nostalgia on there all the time. But there's just other things that are driving it now. I mean, it drives selling stuff. I mean, you could look at your clothes, like you're saying, for entertainment purposes. Everything has to be rebooted because they think that's what's driving the business right now with money. Music, the same thing.
Yep.
Cars. Some people are saying like going more futuristic, but then there's other people are saying they're trying to go back to older trends of cars because people want older style cars, or your bikes or whatever. And we talked about that, your friend that rebuilds bikes or whatever. That's a huge thing. People getting back and getting into the old bikes. I mean, what's the next big thing? I don't know.
Shit, that's the hard part.
Huh?
That's the hard part. What's the next new, or is it the next thing they bring back? That's
Right.
The thing.
It's either what's the new original idea or what's the new thing they bring back to kind of sell you and stuff. And let me tell you, I'm a nostalgia whore. I fucking like, if it was, like I said before, if it was a drug, I could shoot it up. I would fucking do it every day because I enjoy it. But also with the nostalgia comes sadness too. Like I think there's more sadness to there's happiness. I mean, that's why people don't like nostalgia. They're saying like the more nostalgia that it plays, people get depressed because there are certain things they can't go back and relive and redo and whatever. And someone made a good point, and then I'll stop ranting. Is in 2020 they said that was like the hard stop for people, and there's a reason why people look back now with nostalgia harder is because after COVID happened, it fucked things up for a lot of people.
Oh God, yes.
Right? So like a lot of things ended or things had to be shut down or whatever happened. So to them, that was like the stopping point, and they're like, oh, well, now X, Y, and Z is very nostalgic because after COVID, that's all we remember. Or you can say, a lot of things are nostalgic too, like 9/11 happened 20 plus years ago, whatever. Like that's nostalgic to people now. I don't find it nostalgic, I find it tragic.
Dude.
I don't want to look back on that shit, but
Right.
I can see why people do, whatever. But what do you think?
Well, for some people, like going on with what you were just exactly what you were saying is that there's things that happen in the world, not just the U.S. or certain spots of the world, things that happen in the entire world that change everything. It could be a person, it could be an album, it could be 9/11 because ever since 9/11, people everybody gets scanned. It takes forever to get through the lines.
Right.
There's more protocols. There's all this other stuff, and then even with COVID, there's prices of food went up, prices of gas went up. People lose their jobs. Some jobs are extinct. It's just not. I can't say little things. Just things like that happen that change us forever. And that's what goes back to nostalgia. Like if you watch like all those 80s movies or something like that, you'd be like, oh yeah, I remember when people would be able to smoke in hospitals or smoke at the airport, or hell, you can't do that anymore, or
Right.
stuff like that. And it just it kind of, living through a lot of those generations like you and I have, it's just like, God, man, what the fuck happened? And then you're like, oh yeah, COVID, or 9/11, or it's and it eats at you because you're thinking things when we were actually experiencing those things were so much easier. Life was so much easier. Less responsibilities. I can't say no responsibility. Less responsibility, and it just hits you. It's like, man, I wish that could happen again. Or they don't. Or like with cars, you were saying, like they don't make them like they used to.
Right.
I would take a fucking 68 Mustang, all this, muscle cars over anything after fucking 1999, even 1990. You know, because people I knew that when I was growing up had the Supras all souped up and they had all these fucking Toyota Camrys and stuff like that. Now people see them as pussy cars, but I would take a fucking. Think about was it Fast and Furious, the first one, the only one I've seen, so I don't know about the rest of them.
Yeah, I mean,
I would take that fucking muscle car Vin Diesel had over Paul Walker's car.
Yeah,
any day.
I would take the Supra. I'm a Supra fan. I love that twin turbo Supra. That is one car that's very, very rare and valuable. It's one of my dream cars to get that. But if I had to pick, like you said too, with that, it would be a muscle car, like a really souped up Charger Mustang,
made of steel that would fucking a tank.
American muscle.
Thank you, American made.
When you start the car up, you can hear it and you can know that it sounds.
Your fucking neighbors 6 blocks over could fucking hear it.
Yeah, it's shaking their house when they turn the car on.
Exactly. Not when they turn the bass on.
Yeah. Well, the Supra to me has always been a badass car. It's only that model car though, the '96 Toyota Supra or whatever, or even the Clips in the movie, the green one. That one's a fucking badass car too. They really did. But like all the other cars, whatever. Yeah. Like
But no. Give me a muscle car with fucking racing stripes, not this fucking souped up '90s car with graphics and all this NOS and shit like that.
Yeah. So it's kind of weird that in our world today, the nostalgia drives entertainment. I just thought that was interesting that someone brought that up, and it's like, no, you're right, because the more I've noticed it, it's just become more harder. I mean, even my wife said, she's like, why do you send me all this nostalgia stuff? Like, she's like, sometimes it makes me sad, sometimes it makes me really happy. It's like I send that for that reason right there, because it's cool to reminisce on certain things. I like to reminisce, so I like to do it at night when I'm alone with my thoughts and think about stuff. One day I'm gonna look back on our podcasts, like I do with Sam and Brandon one that we used to do, whatever, my buddies, because I miss doing them. One day we're not gonna be doing these, dude. These won't be around, but we'll have the audio to always come back and listen to, and that's something to me that will be nostalgic. I can show my kids and like, hey, listen to me and Uncle Tim. Well, we used to talk about, and you guys really like, and talking about Kevin Smith and
double-edged swords,
swords and your mom's tits. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, cool.
I just think it's something we always talk about nostalgia in the podcast. I always bring it up because I'm very nostalgic, but that is something I just didn't realize and put two and two together, that's like a marketing driving tool now that they use, not just on social media, but like everywhere. It's just something they do,
Mm-hmm.
So
exactly.
What's your next cool off the cuff topic?
Do you think you could live with choosing the day you die, but you don't know how or when? You pick the day. Do you think you could do it?
No.
No, could you live with it? Sorry, could you live with knowing that if you pick a certain day, you just don't know when or how?
I guess I could live with it because it's inevitable that we're all gonna die.
Yeah, but still, like I said,
but if I couldn't pick how I was gonna die or what's going on, no, I would.
No, you don't pick. You don't pick it how or when.
Right.
You just pick the day. Like
right.
If you say March 13th, you can't. You don't know if it's this year, next year, 10 years from now, whatever, and you don't know how it's gonna happen.
No,
so I just come up and just slit your throat right now.
No,
look out.
No, because then every time that day come up, I would be fucking scared in my mind that something was gonna happen. So the reality is, no, I couldn't pick that day or any day because I'd rather just be random and be unknown. Because then it's not scary because it just happens and you just don't know.
Okay.
If I picked a day, then every single day I'd be living myself in fucking anxiety, worrying about that stuff. And I already have anxiety and stuff, and I don't like thinking about that kind of shit. So no, I wouldn't want to do that.
All right, okay, going along the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You pick the day, the year, or whatever. But if you're 1 year old and nobody told you, like if your day was already been picked for you, or whatever, you picked it, could you live with it? Well, you can't say if you live with it. Me telling you now, if that happened, could you how would you react?
I don't know. That's a good question. It'd be difficult to cope with, I guess. If you said you gave me a date when I was 1 year old and I picked it, and then now at my age you tell me like, hey, you're 36 years old, and
guess what? You did this when you were 1. You're dead.
Yeah.
See you in 2 months.
See you in 2 months. I don't know. I mean, I guess if you're death coming to tell me what was going on, I guess I just have to figure out for the next 2 months what I'm gonna do with my life before I get killed or die.
Would you do everything and anything possible? Like if you start drinking like crazy, fucking everything that moves, that kind of stuff?
I mean, probably yes. I would do everything that I wanted to do, and no one would question and tell me how I was gonna do it or whatever. If I didn't have a family, of course I would do all that kind of stuff.
Of course.
But if I did have a family, no, I would just spend most of my time with my family and stuff like that. But yes, you're right. I would go do insane stuff that I would never get to do. Like, I'm going to die. I might as well go skydiving or do shit. I'm going to die anyway, so what does it fucking matter? I would go do stuff that would just, I would never think about doing because I'm afraid of heights. So I'm not going to go skydiving, or go do bag cocaine, or I don't know. You could do anything. Like you can do anything extreme, right? So I don't know.
Cocaine. Didn't think about that.
I definitely would travel around and do all the shit that I want to do and try to get off my bucket list.
Right.
Pay a bunch of Vietnamese hookers, or I don't know. You could say whatever.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you could say.
There's anything you could want to do.
Right.
I would do some crazy stuff. You might as well because you're gonna die.
Every time you do something, YOLO.
Hello.
There's a whole bag of coke gone. Bag of whole pint of weed. YOLO. And then 10 minutes later,
It would just be hard. Someone tells you that, dude, it'd be hard to process, and you'd be like, "What?" Like you wouldn't. I probably wouldn't believe it at first if you told me that. I'd be like, "You're fucking. Who are you? You're an idiot. Leave me alone." It's like that movie, Joe Black, when death comes to come and get him and tell him that like your time's here, but I'm not going to give you the date and time type of thing. And he's just like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. Am I crazy? Who the fuck's talking to me?
all right.
I like that movie. I think it's a good movie.
I haven't seen that long ass time. Going along, same question or same-ish question. I tell you right now, you have 5 minutes to live. What do? You only have 5 minutes.
5 minutes to live.
Yes, it is right now 9:55. You have until 10 o'clock. What do you do in 5 minutes? You're where you are right now. Everything right now.
I drop what I'm doing, and I have to call my family and tell them I love them, and blah blah blah, and tell things to my family, my son, my daughter, my wife, friends, whoever, and just tell them like it might be a giant group text because you can't call and talk to everybody in 5 minutes.
Yeah, right.
But I probably called and tried to talk to everybody on the phone as fast as I could and tell them what's going on, and they couldn't explain it to them, and then just say this is what I think that's what I'd have to do. There ain't nothing else you can really do. I mean, what am I gonna do? Go jerk off and take a shit? Like there's just nothing I can do. I'll go have sex or something. It's like I've done that a million times. So
you only got 2 choices right now. If you're right here, right now.
Yeah.
And I'm one of no.
Yeah. One of no. No, I'd just rather die. Just kill me now. It had to be that.
Stick your dick in the outlet.
Yeah. Go fuck a tree outside.
Lammy.
Gross. No bestiality here.
Yeah, no bestiality.
That's what it has to be. I mean, that's just the simple answer. I mean, if I was somewhere else, maybe it could be something different, something else. But that's probably the most logical answer. That's who I'd call and say things. What about you? You're not answering these questions. What the fuck?
Because you're not asking me. Yeah, if I knew the date, I would try to, like you said, avoid the date as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's like you said, inevitable, it's gonna happen.
Right.
And then you just like, all right, you embrace it because you accept it because that's all you can do.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do anything about it. For 5 minutes, yeah, I would definitely do a mass text or Facebook, whatever, message everybody, even Facebook video, and then the important people I would call or actually, like call them and say, hey, this is what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what?
That's what I'm dying.
Yeah, I'm dying here soon.
Guess
When? Like 2 minutes.
Can Make-A-Wish come over?
Right, can make it work. That's part of my one of my next questions is coming up.
Okay.
Something like that. I ain't gonna say it yet.
Okay.
But yeah, I would start calling people like crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's the most logical answer.
I would not tell a lot of people. Not a lot of people, just some people I know because I don't think they really give a shit anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know why I'm friends with them in the first place.
Yeah.
But still, yeah. I agree with you what you said.
Yeah. What's your next one?
Your next one.
My next question?
Your turn. That was mine.
Okay. Your turn. My turn. Jinx. This is more of, I guess it's another question or whatever, because I got a couple ones that aren't really questions. They're more kind of like the cool trends I've seen happening or whatever, and I thought you guys would find this interesting. But does tech make things harder or easier nowadays, or both?
Ooh, both.
Why?
Because you'd have to figure out the tech in order to use it, for one.
Right.
Easier because, like, if you're stranded or like your car died in the middle of the fucking highway, you can call somebody or someplace or come pick you up. TV wise, you have more shit to watch, but at the same time, you have 500 channels on your streamer, and you don't watch anything.
Yeah, and can't watch everything, right? There's so much content coming at you. It's like, who can watch all this stuff? So you have to kind of pick and choose which one suits you best. What else? What else makes it easier or harder about it? Because I mean, this is a loaded question. There's so much stuff you can answer in this. I've had time to think about it.
I'm not sure if it's the word harder for it or if it's more pain in the ass or not right.
You can call whatever you want.
Well, I'm trying to think of the right word, how to word it.
Difficult. I guess it's part of hard.
In a way, because a lot of technological jobs are taking our jobs away. Mm-hmm. You know, you used to go to Schnucks, you'd have fucking 20 lanes of cashiers. Now you got like
three
and four of them are self checkouts. Mm-hmm. You know, there's no human interaction. Mm-hmm. Technology, especially Facebook, somewhat to a point, cell phones. Yeah, well, completely to cell phones. And if in a way it's Facebook and the social medias, people don't socialize much anymore. Mm-hmm. It's making it harder to meet people, make it harder to go out with people that you already know, because people are so souped up into the phones or the computers or their TVs or whatever. They're so lazy.
Mm-hmm. I that's one of my questions coming up. So don't. I guess we'll hit on it afterwards. But keep going. Even
with like technology, the last 30, 40 years. Mm-hmm. You know, I had this conversation with my dad once. Is when he was growing up, they had McDonald's, of course, but as he grew older, they came up with the drive-through, which made it lazier for convenient but lazy.
Convenience but lazy, correct. It was supposed to be more fast and efficient to make more money, right?
Exactly, but still, you're taking 10, 15 minutes on the drive-through line now.
Yeah.
And they had the more technology to make it faster, but they just don't.
Right. Well, they do that, or they don't hire the right people, put the right things in place, right?
Right. But it's like his generation for him, you know, men would work, you know, 30-hour weeks, and they'd only work 4 days a week, 4 days a week, and they'd still get their 40 hours. They'd still get the weekends off. They still could afford a house, a car, this and that. It's like his generation invented lazy. Mm-hmm. My generation, mine, yours, is perfected it, and now kids nowadays that's all they know is being lazy.
Right.
It's like every other generation is making it worse for the prior one, because not just because they're younger, and they think these people are older, they don't know shit, they don't know how to do anything. It's because you are just making shit harder to do.
Right. Here you know what I'm going to say. It's a double-edged sword for sure, right? And the reason why, and man, you made some really good points with the tech stuff. Sure, does tech provide a lot of conveniences and a lot of things that we have to do? Like, I need this piece of paper and I have to go get it from the DMV, or I have to go get it from here. I can just go on their website and print it out or whatever. Not saying it's true with everything, but
hell, if I could order some shoes, I'll call it.
Right.
I'll get up on Amazon.
I think the conveniences and the stuff outweigh the negative stuff in a lot of ways, because it's made our society progress so much quicker with things and saving time and doing stuff. But at the same time, like you're saying, you've lost all the social interaction. Like, how do you get a pair of shoes? You have to go to a shoe store and get your foot maybe sized up, and go find a pair of shoes and actually interact with people and do stuff. You have to take time out of your day to go do that. Like, set aside time and stuff. And like, I'm old school. I like to do that stuff still. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll buy shoes online if I have to, but I like to go pick my pair of shoes out, right? So technology has made it more convenient in that way. Or like, for example, here's another technology advancement. When I went to the hockey store to get Lincoln sized up for skates, or myself sized up for skates, you stick your foot in this thing now, and it scans your leg and your foot, and it gives you exact size measurements and everything.
They had that at the New Balance store.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a cool advancement that really, like, it makes things, and you have to physically go there to do it. So I'm like, this is cool. Like, they make you go here. You can't just go do this online or whatever.
Right.
So I thought that was cool. Like, that's something that we've always needed. But of course, I can go online and buy skates once I know my size and do whatever. But I thought that was something that was actually like, hey, this gets people in the store. You get things sized up, and then you learn some stuff about some stuff. Like, you can't just go get educated online. I mean, there's something about going and meeting someone who's more of an expert on something to give you advice on, like, hey, why you need this X, Y, and Z. Now, not everybody's an expert. They're just a glorified salesman most of the time in these jobs. But sometimes you do learn some stuff by going out and doing that stuff.
Right. Little asterisk with that though.
Yeah.
If you go to the New Balance store or get your skates or whatever, make sure you do have 2 feet.
Yeah.
They won't let you use it if you only have 1 foot.
That's right.
I'll let you know for that for a fact.
Yeah. Does it make things harder? Sure, it's made things a lot harder with a lot of things. I mean, just the simple fact that like everything has to be online now. Like nothing can be in the store. Like you can't just call the store like, oh hey, you have to fill out this thing on this app and do all this shit first, right? For example, like I went to the UPS store the other day, and I needed them to print out a label for me from Amazon. I was right next to the store. I was like, hey, I can just do it right here, and I had that item in my thing. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. You have to go home and print this out. We actually don't print stuff here. We're just a store and we just ship stuff. I'm like, what I want to say to the guys, what the fuck do you do here? Like, you just come here and people just scan shit and you put it in a box and someone comes pick it up? He's like, yeah, pretty much. Just some 16-year-old kid. I'm like, you're telling me the UPS store doesn't have a label printer here?
Some of them are like that.
And I can't just email it to you to print it? No, we can't do that here. And it's like, oh, if we do that, we have to charge you $10 or $5. I was like,
for a piece of paper with a sticker on it.
I was like, go F yourself is what I wanted to say. So I had to go home and print it out and bring it back up there. I'm like, that part of stuff, this technology has made things lazier, like you were saying. Like, it's made it convenient but inconvenient, where it's like, okay, well, it shouldn't be this hard. Like, before, you're supposed to provide customer service, and now you're not. And everything has to be automated. Like, there's chat bots for everything. Like, you go to a website, before you can talk to a real human and get a human interaction, let's talk to our chat bot and get all these questions answered. It's like, no, I want to
talk. If you even know if you're talking to a human or not, you're talking to a chat bot.
Well, everything's become chat bots on everything. Like, you go to Charter or you go to a company, like, they're like, hey, this is so-and-so, or your automated person to talk to. It's a chat bot. That's what the technical term is. Like, we're doing it now in our company. They want chat bots to answer stuff for the service desk. I'm like, cool, you're just going to make things more stupid for people because that's all you're doing. You're making people stupid. That's all we're really doing at the end of the day. There is convenience to it, right? Like the Amazon chatbot is fucking awesome. It's really good. But I still don't want to talk to it. I want to talk to a person because I know if I talk to them in 30 seconds, I'll get my refund instead of going through 5 minutes of questions through a chatbot. Right. Did you do this? Did you do that? I mean, like here's the technology advancement. But like you said, you're taking jobs away from people that should have jobs. Like you're saying at the grocery store or automation is just part of life, right? You know, you're seeing these people that are complaining at warehouses about like, hey, I have to work in a warehouse and I'm young. I don't want to do this. Okay, so we don't want to pay you $30 an hour to move boxes. We're going to find a robot that can automate it and do it yourself. And guess what? Who's done it? Amazon's been doing it really well.
Right.
And that's part of like the tech that's growing that's going to automate these people out of jobs.
Right. And
it sucks. It sucks to hear that this generation of people are so fucking lazy, like you're saying. I think what you're referring to is with your dad and other people who, like my dad or anybody else generation, they always use the thing, work smarter, not harder, right? And because we're doing that now, we're innovating stuff to be more efficient, but we're also automating people out of jobs and doing stuff. So it's, again, a double-edged sword.
We're working harder, not smarter.
Or working harder, not smarter, right? I mean, that's, you can think of that as that way, too. There's a lot of people that do that as well. It kind of sucks, man. It is that life where, like, hey, I want more things that are convenient, but also I don't want to see people lose jobs because of it. But at the same time, what you're saying, this generation of people are so lazy, you're kind of forcing their hand and make them do this because, like, did you see there's a fully automated McDonald's? I think we've talked about it before. Yeah. You can literally put your order in through the drive-through and pull up to the window and you pay right there where you do it. You go up to the next window, you just scan your card, come up to the next window, and on a conveyor belt comes right to the window, opens up. No human interaction, no nothing. They're eliminating people. The only people who are working there are the ones watching the machines, making sure they're doing their job, the engineers and stuff. So.
And the ice cream machine is still broken.
And the ice cream's still broken. Did you ever, I got a funny thing. So there's this guy in a reel. He walked into like 20 different McDonald's.
Yeah.
You seen it?
Yeah.
And he goes, is your ice cream machine broken? They said, or can I get an ice cream? They said, no, it's broken. And then he ordered the ice cream anyway, or went back there and made the ice cream in front of him. And then he just turned the machine on and it's working.
He fixed it for them, yeah.
Or he didn't even just fix it. There was times they said it was broken. He just walked back there and he turned it on and it was working. He's like, hey, it's not broken. Like, go after yourself. And he was doing like an audit with McDonald's, and McDonald's actually saw this, and a lot of people either getting fired or they actually got in big trouble for doing that. You know, it's a running joke with McDonald's. You know that.
Oh yeah. I want to say this one thing because this is something recent. So if we hear this later on, we might forget about it. Have you seen the newer McDonald's commercials with the robots and the cartoon and shit like that?
No.
No. Oh, fuck.
But just explain it to me real quick.
Okay. Well, basically, it's like a anime. Robots in a McDonald's commercial, and their logo for McDonald's is the same exact thing. What the W is upside down.
Whack on Arnold's?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I told Jen last night. I go, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but it reminds me of the Chappelle show when they have Whack Arnold.
Yeah. Whack Arnold's. I'm surprised that Chappelle hasn't sued him yet for it.
Right? Shit. But no, it still says McDonald's, but it just says what the W or the M's are upside down.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like you were saying that that and I was saying that make things are more convenient and less for people. But other times they promise you so much stuff. Technology has made people promise things that they can't hold the promise. Basically, they can't promise they can't keep. Like Amazon used to be, if you pay for Prime, you were a special person and you get your shit in 2 days. Now it's that Prime is just you don't have to pay shipping, or they up the prices where you're paying the shipping in with the original cost and thinking you're saving money. And that's stuff like that. Like a lot of people don't know these older folks. They don't know that shit. Or even with a technology thing is scammers. Scammers are taking millions and millions, probably even billions of dollars away from old folks because they don't fucking know any better.
That's true. And it happens a lot of stuff with automation. Dude, the other day, talking about scammers, I got a phone call from some lady, and it was an AI voice chat thing or whatever. And it sounded legit. And like, this is from somebody from so-and-so courthouse. We're coming to, what are they going to say, serve you papers or do something?
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it. I'm like, nobody tells you when you're getting served papers. They just show up, right?
Exactly.
So that's how I knew it was fake.
Yeah.
And they said, because I didn't pay some X amount of dollars for something. I'm like, cool. Like, okay, so come serve me. I'm thinking in my head. I end up tracking it down because you can track shit down.
Yeah.
And I end up calling back the number, and it was some fake person. Yeah. But they sounded real. They sounded American, but they weren't. They were from a different country. They used some 1-800 number. They spoofed stuff to make it look like it was St. Charles number and all this other stuff where we live around. And I was like, it's getting that advanced. And these older people, they don't know. They just fall for it because they didn't grow up with technology like we did, so they don't know any better to what's going on.
And even worse. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. Go, keep on.
You say go ahead. You went.
Yeah, go ahead.
Even worse is that a lot of these they're having voice. What do you call it? Voice copiers or whatever. That they're recording your voice. If you say hello, they can use that AI and record your voice saying other shit.
Yeah, they call them deepfakes.
Thank you.
That's what they call them. They call them a deepfake. I mean, Joe Rogan talks about them all the time because he gets put in deepfakes on Twitter, and he'll be like promoting some product that he's never even promoted before or got paid for, or they can use your voice to like they've done deepfakes on podcasts. They had one of him doing a 50-minute podcast with like Muhammad Ali. I'm just making somebody up, right, or whatever. He's like, I've never interviewed this person. Where'd this come from? And he's like, dude, that sounds exactly like me, exactly what I say. All they have to do is take one podcast, take all that information, and put it into a thing, and they can deepfake the whole thing with AI. That's going to be scary to think about. That's something that's kind of scary because anybody can get faked. I mean, you could do the President of the United States calling in fucking bomb threats or nuclear codes if you know how to deepfake shit good enough.
Right.
I'm not saying that's going to happen. Knock on wood. But that's the world we live in nowadays. And, there is some cool things with automation. Like I've said, I don't know if maybe a couple podcasts we said this before, or maybe a long time ago I've talked about it. But, Google came up one for people that don't want to answer phones, like, whatever, and they have automated assistants. Someone calls and said, I need a haircut. You answer the phone. It sounds like you're talking to a nice old lady or whatever. She gives you your appointment and everything. You talk to her. You're having a conversation with something, but it's a robot. It's an AI voice robot. Right. And then they actually book the appointment and do all that stuff. But there is some technology conveniences that are great. Like we talk about too is, you order food and you go just pick it up and they drop it off in your car. Like for people who are busy, that is a great technology advancement because the world is so busy. So there is someone in the store that will go get your groceries. You're paying for it. You pay for a service. And they provide a good customer service. That's what it's supposed to do. But like you were saying also, with technology, you get the faults where you get shitty people, shitty stuff. So like the customer service aspect isn't there. You get it with Uber. You get shitty drivers or shitty people, which is a great technology advancement. You don't have to have a car. I mean, you have to have a car to have a job or whatever, but they didn't have to have any taxis or whatever. Right. You can order now any fast food, online and get it. But now you pay $70 to get Taco Bell dropped off to your house because
for one person.
For one person, and it's like, is this really worth the money? It was worth it when it first came out. It was like $20 or $30, and you gave a guy a good tip.
Yeah,
ain't worth it no more, bro.
Yeah.
Like that stuff
because you're paying more. It's like you're paying for their entire tank of gas to bring you food when it's right down the street.
Dude, I've had more. I got a friend that he's single, and I'm not going to name him or nothing like this. And he has a good job working from home or whatever.
Do I know who he is?
No, you don't know this guy.
Okay, that's
and this dude pays and orders food from his house almost every day. Fast food. Like, what should I get today, guys? And it's like, get out of your house and go fucking buy some food, you fucking piece of shit, and make some food at your house and stop ordering fast food. He's like, I just spent $50 on, so and so today, and it's like, I hate you because your problem. What's part of the problem? If we continue to pay people this stupid prices to go get stuff. You know, a lot of it's drunk people, in my opinion. The drunk people ruin it for everybody else because they're like, oh, I want McDonald's, so I'll pay some guy $60 to go get me my food and drop it off my porch this morning instead of just going to get up and do it or whatever.
And they're too drunk to go pick it up, and it goes bad.
And now you can order alcohol. People will go pick up your alcohol and do stuff for you. I mean, there's just so many conveniences we've done. So, like, there's cool things, but like you said, it's made everybody fucking lazy. And that, to me, is probably the big double-edged sword of it, is it make it harder or easier. Sure, it's made things easier, but it's also made it harder for people because of the money and knowing that they have the convenience there that they can pay someone. There's always an option. Like, it's just like with the jobs. There's always out there someone you can pay someone to do something. They've made it into a job for advancement and convenience factor. Now people are more lazy, and this is just the world we live in and the society we live in. There is positives, but I think there's more negatives than positive with the tech and stuff. Or maybe I said it backwards.
Either way, I mean, it just depends on how you look at it.
I guess, it might be subjective. It might be the way you look at it. I love technology. I love everything about it. I love technology conveniences and stuff, but also there's a lot of fucking things I hate. And I think your biggest point about it definitely has made more people antisocial.
Yeah.
I just think that's what it is. I think that's what it comes down to. What's your next topic? Or I can go into the next one that kind of bleeds into it. I bleed into this. So, no, I'll let you go on your next one because this was going to be one of my last ones. Or I guess, yeah, I'll make this one. Sorry. So, are we more social or antisocial as a society? Because you kind of brought it up, so now I'm just going to bring it up anyway.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll let you talk because I can rant about this one.
I think people are very antisocial. I mean, you can have a family of 4 walk into a nice restaurant, have a nice dinner together, but what are they doing?
They're all playing their phones.
They're all on their phones.
Yeah, I think we talked about that before too. I think when we go out to dinner, I make it a point. Everybody takes off their phones. We turn off the TV, or we mute the TV when people are there. I think it's just one of those things you have to be more aware of as a parent and an adult to do it. I mean, I'm very, what's the word I'm looking for? Guilty of doing it all the time too.
You're doing it right now.
Well, I'm checking stuff for work.
I know.
Oh, that's different.
I had to throw it out there.
But yeah, you're right. I was doing something on my phone while I'm talking to the podcast. But the reality is, it has made us more antisocial because, for example, when I go into work now, before, like when newer people were in, it was easier to shoot the shit with people. I mean, we work in IT, so people are introverted at heart anyway.
Right.
You know, there's a bunch of dorks in there that don't want to fucking talk to anybody, and I'm one of those people. But I can talk somebody up, and I have the gift of gab when I want to talk to people, especially having a cup of coffee. But like walking in the hallway, what was something? Okay, here's a great example. When you walk down a narrow hallway at work, right, or your college or whatever else you were, what did you do before you had a phone?
Just say, hey, George. Hey, Bob. Hey, Steve. Hey, Christina.
Or not even just that. If someone random walks down the hallway, and what did you have to do? You had to make eye contact.
Yeah, make eye contact. Say, hey.
Say, hi, how you doing, or whatever.
Yeah,
and even if you didn't know the person, nod your head, give the old...
Yeah, or nice shirt,
Nice shirt, nice tits.
Yeah.
Whatever, to say. Nowadays, what do people do when they walk past each other on the phone? You're on your phone, and it's the master of being. It's not even just master of being antisocial, but it's made the water cooler talk or stuff that you would have to be forced to do now. It's made it more antisocial, where you are forced to have social interactions with people. Now you can unforce yourself by being that awkward person, being on your phone, looking busy when you're not. I mean, there's so many times at work I'm guilty of it that I'm walking by someone, I just pull up my phone and look like I'm answering something at work or doing something. Cause I just,
to ignore them?
Yeah, so I can ignore them, right? But everybody does that, right? Yeah. It's
a slave to the screen, man.
It's not even a slave to the screen. It's a convenience of being antisocial with someone because you can avoid them and like, oh, I'm busy doing something, like looking distracted or doing whatever else. I've said this many times before, and I've sat there in like in a hallway before when I was working. I've watched how many people do it. 9 out of 10 people will do that when they're in the hallway. People. Now there's always that one person like, hey, how you doing? Whatever, going by. Sometimes I am that person if I'm in a good mood. Other times I'm like, I don't fucking talk to this person, so I'm gonna be on my phone or whatever. You see it all the time. And when where else I've seen it that's really bad, and then you can answer whatever else you want, is at the mall. Yes. Kids are walking around the mall, and you get to walk around. I actually like the people watch people, or you go in the mall. I mean, who goes to the mall nowadays anyway? But the kids I did see there, they're all on their phone, walking around. I mean, you can see that at theme parks or anywhere else you go, right? Yeah. So.
With me was when I was working at the school. We the way the radio station was, there was gigantic windows like, I don't know, like 8 or 10 windows, huge windows where you can see inside the studio and see if somebody was on the air or whatever. And it was basically more room than they needed. It was like the size of this room, but they only needed this much space, kind of thing. And then when you cross around the corner, that's where our front door was,
Yeah.
and we had a glass door. So you could still see inside not the studio, but inside at least the station.
Right.
You know, kind of like more like a security office more than anything.
Yeah.
But anyway, right by that door was a bunch of doors to go outside to the next building. And so I don't know how many times I could just be sitting there on the air, or even just sitting inside, like I said, the little I can't go green area, office area, we'll call it that, or the office area, and just watch kids on their phone, and they run into the goddamn doors.
Shut up.
Because they're on their phone, or the giant pillars holding the ceiling up. I don't know. There's so many times we're like, okay, how many are we going to have today?
You should have recorded and made a blooper reel.
Dude, I should have. But I'm like, we would sit there and go, okay, how many dorks are we going to have today? Or how many pillar people are we going to have today? You know, we had names for these people. It was the Pillar Princess and the Door Dorks. And the Door Dorks would always win because we would always have 5, 6 people, kids, even adults, more kids than anything, looking at their phone and
I have a boss at my work. He's an upper senior person at my work, and he is the most interactive person. Like, he'll talk to everybody and chat everybody up, but he's always on his phone. He'll be like talking to you like this, but always on his phone going like this, like the whole time. He's never off his phone.
Right.
He's there answering a million questions on things at work because he's always engaged at work. He's married to his job. Let's just put it that way. Or things with going on in his life or whatever, but he never has none of his phone on him. And next time I see him, I want to ask him, like, dude, is there ever a time I can sit down and hang out with you or talk to you without having your fucking phone on you? Like, you're the worst person about having your phone. Like, you're always on your phone talking. Like, you're talking with your hand while you're talking. That's how I feel about it with that kind of stuff. And kids are more apparent of that than adults, but he reminds me of a kid with it because I'm like, dude, you look like a 13-year-old kid right now, texting or being on Instagram while you're walking and talking and doing stuff. And, you know, you're really not that busy. You're a slave to the screen like most people are because he's on his laptop all the time. So his phone, he's like, well, I'm answering stuff and talking to people on my phone, like, for work. Like, use your laptop that you're walking around with your hand with, dude. Like, you know, I get it, it's convenient again, but the phone thing is one of those things that I think has really made people antisocial, right? I mean, it's not just technology; it's your phone.
Right.
Your phone is the ultimate excuse to get out of speaking to people. Anytime that you're around someone that's awkward, like I was saying down the hallway, you can get out of it by just pulling out your phone and not even acknowledging them. It's the ultimate tool.
Okay. Now, going along the same lines as that, it's just 2 questions. Have you ever actually got on your walked down a hallway or walked fucking towards McDonald's or down the street, and you forgot what you were doing, so you pulled your phone out of your pocket, and act like you had a phone call, and then turn around the other way?
I've never done that. Never have done that. I've seen people do that, but I've never ever just like, oh, I forgot what I was doing, pull up my phone and act like I knew what I was doing. I've never done that. I was just like, what the fuck was I doing? I always just think about that. I was like, did I just get distracted and forget what I'm doing? Because I get distracted all the time now. It's really weird. Like, on the way over here, I had an idea about something for the podcast. I was going to write down the old book, and I forgot about it because I got a phone call or something on my phone, and I looked at it at a stoplight, and then I was like, what was I just thinking about? And I get distracted like that all the time, and the phone is one of those things that fucking causes it for me or whatever.
Right.
If I don't write it down right away or think about it, even at home, like, I'll have like a laundry list of things I need to get done, like laundry, dishes, whatever else. It's like I'll do 2 or 3 because I got distracted and forgot that the 4th one.
Right.
I think that's just the way our society is. We're more distracted now because of that kind of shit.
Right. Okay.
Have you done that?
I've done it, yes, a few times, actually. Or even I've done things where I don't know what I wanted at, like, a fast food restaurant or whatever, so I'll get out of line, act like I got a phone call, go, what did you want again? You know, pretend somebody else was ordering, so I got out of line so everybody else could order because I didn't know what the fuck I wanted.
You're an idiot. I could see people doing that, though. You know what? As a kid, there has been times where I got in line, I'm like, oh, I'm going to get something. This is just more kid stuff or whatever. But you get out of line, you're like, oh, I'm going to order something. You get in line, you're up to order. Like, I don't know what I want to order. So you step out of line to let someone else order behind you and wait. I've done that a million times, but I've never been like, hey, I'm going to out of line and do that. But it is funny that you've done that just so you didn't look like a retard in front of everybody.
That's just trying to, do like that. And then the other question, what is more annoying to you? Having a child, I guess, or maybe you could say adults too. Okay. I'll call them retards. Would you ever rather have a retard on their phone who walks into you while while they're playing a game or something like that, or someone making a fucking TikTok video and yelling at you because you're in their shot?
So, repeat that again. I'm trying to. So you're saying
Basically, like if you want someone going like tapping on their phone, would you rather have them looking down at their phone and run into you, like bump into you, or someone be like, "Oh hey, look, I'm at the mall now," and you run into them while they're filming?
I don't know why you have to even ask me that question because you already know it's going to be the second person that has to hold their phone and do stuff.
Yes.
If I'm that person, I'm going to say, go fuck yourself and fuck
on
off.
the video,
right? So I follow this guy named Joey Swoll. Have you ever heard of him? Really cool dude. I mean, he's really swole. He probably takes steroids or something like that. But he you can tell he's a good person at heart, whatever. And he's about gym etiquette and gym stuff. He got really big and viral because he started calling out all these people on TikTok and Instagram, people that are influencers, gym influencers, or everybody thinks that they need to record themselves and show their ass and whatever. It's mostly women. I don't know what it is, but it's always women on these fucking videos. Sometimes there's guys.
Yeah.
I want to be sexist, but 99% of the time it's fucking women. I don't know why. It's because of the Instagram. Let me show my ass and tits when I work out kind of stuff at the gyms kind of stuff instead of just showing like a video of me working out. Right. Some of them might be that as well, but I just find it always it's a woman dressed, all.
I got you.
So they'll be doing a video working out. They'll put their phone down, and they'll be like, "Look at this guy in the background looking at my ass," or "Look at this guy doing whatever," or some guy will walk up and be like, "Hey, are you using this machine behind you?" Or they'll walk in front of their shot, and these people will post this on social media and be like, "Look at this guy. He doesn't know how to use his machine or whatever." So he'll get on his phone, he'll get on in his car and do a recap video of what they said, and he'll call them out and be like, "This is a public space. Like this is a shared space. Like people here to work out. If you want to go to a private gym and do this where people can't interrupt you, that's where you need to go." He'll be like, "You need to do better. I can't believe you called this person out. I hope the people who own this gym figure out that you did this and fucking ban you from doing this, like calling someone out online for your internet clout or your 5 likes or your claps because you're mad that some guy looked at you because you're doing something weird or stupid, right? Or whatever, or they weren't even doing nothing. You just called them out because you thought they were. Like some guy might look your direction. He's like, "Ew, he's a pedo. He's looking at me," or doing whatever. They want to feel like a victim, right? The victimhood or whatever. So he calls them out, and these people most of the time they either get banned from gyms or they get attacked online afterwards. And his idea is not to make them get attacked. His idea is to say, like, you need to be a better person. Like, don't do this to people. Like, most of the time, these people could just be new members of the gym, or they don't know any better, or they're just being people, and they're just looking around, people watching, like, seeing what you're doing. Like, they're not sitting there checking out your ass, or being a pervert or anything like that. So I like him. I follow his videos just for that. I mean, and sometimes some of them are just fucking really funny because some people are just Karens, you can call them whatever.
Right.
So I thought that was funny.
Oh yeah, I'd watch something like that.
But yes, the TikTokers and people like that are the most annoying people in the world. If I see, so there's this one video. Oh my god, it was the most cringe thing I've ever seen in my life, and I'm just gonna say it. These people were at the airport and during Christmas, and it was a whole family of them, and they have all Santa hats on, and they're sitting in the corner, and all of a sudden they're doing this dance move, and they're all moving their hands together like in a choo-choo train, like jumping up and down the line, going back and forth, like doing this video
in the airport.
And the guy had a tripod and a thing, and apparently he's an influencer for like traveling and doing stuff, and he was making videos for his family. And all these people in the airport, they're drinking coffee and sitting around like, what the fuck is going on? Like, they had no idea what was going on. Like, are we getting punked right now, or what are these people doing? It was just so cringe. It's like, okay, first of all, if I'm in that family, I want to kill myself, but I guess they're all just like, we're a happy family, we're cool, whatever. And maybe they do it for income or whatever, but that kind of stuff has ruined the world. I'm sorry. Like, people doing that kind of stuff, like little kids doing it, way different thing because it's a social thing and they're kids and they're having fun. Adults doing it with their families or doing any stuff, I'm not taking fun out of anything. I'm just being realistic. You're fucking weird. Like, I don't like that kind of stuff, and I think that kind of stuff is ruined stuff. Like, I get it different if you're dancing with your daughter and making a cool TikTok video. But doing it in public, and you guys are all wearing Santa outfits and whatever in the middle of the airport where people are trying to go and they're, they want to be, you're in public space. Like, don't do that kind of shit. Like, I'm trying to be there and go and get on the fucking plane. I don't want to watch you do TikTok dances in the middle of the airport so you can get your 5 minutes of clout and make some money off people. It's fucking weird and it's cringe.
Just because you like the background?
It's just cringe, dude. And I don't like that. That's one thing I don't like with the content creators and doing stuff. They invade people's public spaces and stuff. And it's like, you guys can go do this in private. You don't need to do this right in the middle of public. And a lot of people do reaction videos now. They go out in public and fuck with people and do stuff. Sure, some of it's funny, but it was funnier when it was like on Jackass or something like that, when it wasn't like the social norm to do it. Now people are all doing it, like going up to people and moaning in their ears at Walmart or doing something so they can get their...
Half the time they're doing that shit's illegal because they didn't get that person's consent to be on the video. So a lot of times people are getting sued now because of that.
If you're in public, it's public footage. You can record them and do stuff.
Really?
Yeah, but if you're in a private business, you're not allowed to do that kind of
But
stuff.
Jackass did that shit all the time. They were out in the streets and stuff like that.
Right, you're in public property. I can record you. If a police officer's in the middle of the street doing whatever, I can sit out there and record them. Like it's part of one of our amendments. Freedom of press and freedom of speech. You can do that kind of stuff.
But it's not press. Fuck you, people.
It's part of it. So I watched a guy called Audit the Audit on Facebook. Check him out. He's pretty good. He goes around and poses just as a regular person. He'll go into audit government buildings and be recording stuff, and you're allowed to do it. And these people always try to invade our constitutional rights, and he's there to audit. And these cops try to use their physical force or whatever, and he knows the law better than they do. They end up always like bowing and bending the knee to it, and sometimes they don't. He gets them audited, and they all get in trouble and get fucked because they don't know the constitutional law. But same thing. He can be outside the building and record stuff. Obviously, if you're recording a police officer during a traffic stop or doing something, you're impeding on them doing something, you can get in trouble, right? There's something different with that. But if you're standing across the street, there's something they can do about it. If you're on public property and public street, if you're out in public, man, you can get recorded. But if you're inside of a private business doing something they don't condone to it, that's different, right? You have to get people's consent for that. So there is laws and stuff around that.
Of course,
I've watched it enough to figure it out now because of what's going on in the world nowadays. Yeah. You're kind of like, can people fucking do this? And you kind of find out there's loopholes with everything.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it's weird. That kind of shit would bother me too if someone was sticking their camera in my face and doing so. I'd be the guy that punched the person in the camera and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill you! Like, get this out of my face."
Right.
But now if they came up and asked me, it's like, "Hey, can I do a video and be you in it and do like a reaction video?" You can see all those videos nowadays, and most of them are fake, and you can tell which ones are fake by really like, "Hey, we got a gold digger out here. I'm gonna record him, ask him to come out on a date, then I'm gonna walk into my Lamborghini and see if the girl walks back over, and there's always some good-looking girl in like a skimpy outfit or like a good-looking outfit, and like." Sorry, this girl isn't walking down the street, and you're not just going to park a Lamborghini randomly in the street, like down there. Now, I've seen some real gold digger videos where guys have really done this. So some guy did it, and that's how it became a viral trend. He walked over and actually asked out a girl at college or something. I can't remember what it was. Something along those lines. And she was like, "No, I'm not interested, blah, blah, get away." And he walked him back to his Lamborghini, and she actually ran over and did that to him. People are like, and he got a lot of likes off it just to see it was a social experiment he was doing, right? I don't know if it was part of something for school or whatever it was, but he was doing it, and then it became a content creator trend for people to do that. And you can tell the ones that are fake, the ones that are real. But this one was real. I was like, man, this is genuine. All the other ones, I'm like, God, this is fucking so fake. But I guarantee it happens. I guarantee women see someone in a nice car, they're like, okay, this guy's got money, blah, 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 security.
Right.
He might be ugly, but now I like him because he's got money, right? Or vice versa with guys and girls, you know? So.
Sad days.
Yeah, sad days. So now I'm going to go into my next topic. Do you have any more topics?
Go ahead. I got 2.
Okay. Well,
maybe 3.
I got 2 or 3 with you. If there's any trend you'd like to see come back, what would it be? And this could be any type of trend. It doesn't have to be clothing, because everyone thinks when you talk about trends, it's automatically about clothes or something.
Right.
Maybe it's Lemmy. He needs his nails cut.
Her.
Him.
Her. She is a her. That's a good one. Definitely nothing clothing-wise. Do you have one?
Any trends I'd like to see come back? I think if I'd like to see anything come back, I'd like to see people go back to stores and actually go out and do stuff again. I mean, that may just be something stupid we've talked about before, but maybe that's a trend I'd like to see come back, and maybe it is come back. I'd like to see people get out and do things more as a trend, as a society. Like to go out and shop and do stuff and to keep businesses alive, to not be so stuck and glued inside our house, and being antisocial, everything we've kind of talked about.
You just want people to socialize.
More social, and I think now that having kids and getting out and seeing things more, because, it's easy to be stuck inside your house and be a fucking recluse and just not do anything. And you live in your own world. You go to work, come back home, you don't venture out and go and do anything. I mean, I'm guilty of it. I don't want to go spend money on shit that I don't need to go do, but also sometimes going out and doing that, it's kind of, it's kind of nice to know, like, hey, I'm alive, and to see other things and do other things. I think there's the trend now is like everybody just wants to be within their own bubble in their own world, and they don't want to be bothered by anybody and stuff. And I get that because I'm totally like that as well. I think the trend of just being, just stuck at your house. I think COVID was part of the problem with a lot of that stuff, right? I'll just blame COVID because I think that made people more the way we are nowadays than we've ever been. So I think that has something to do, but also I think part of the problem is everything's just so expensive. Nobody wants to go out and spend money on shit anymore. So
everything was expensive because of COVID.
So they're looking for trends. I guess if they're looking for things to do for free that don't cost money, I think that's still popular. I think that's like going to the park or going to do things that you can do that doesn't cost a bunch of money. That will always be popular with people.
Right.
I think it's the things that people just don't want to spend money on because there's not a need for it, right? Because it could be the movies, it could be anything. I don't know. I didn't have a specific trend. I thought you might have a trend that you would like to see come back. I mean, maybe the way we dressed in the 90s and 2000s. Actually, 90s dressing was kind of fucking weird to me. I didn't really like our styles in the 90s. I liked the 2000s because it was my generation. But apparently they said our generation of clothing's come back. Actually, I said it was preppiness. But I was never a prep, so I didn't give a fuck about that kind of stuff.
Right.
I tried dressing like that, kind of like between 6th and 8th grade because it was popular or whatever. But I never liked it. I just did it because just to fit in because social norms and stuff. And then I realized I'm like, this is gay. I ain't doing this no more. Why am I doing this? And like, it's not getting me any girls, and it's not making me feel any better about myself. It just made me feel like I fit in. So I feel like I fit with the fit in crowd. So everybody does it, right? To an extent,
I don't, but
no, you don't. But that's something like I told you before that I always admired about you, that you always just wore whatever. I'm like, what? I'm just gonna do the same thing. Like, I like skateboarding and like hockey and doing stuff.
Honestly, the only thing I think I've ever worn that was trendy at a time was an Adidas jacket. Mm-hmm. I had a blue and gold Adidas jacket for the Blues, and that was when they were popular. That's it. That's the only time I've ever been any kind of in clothing at the time or anything like that.
Yeah. So I have another one that is kind of a tech. It's kind of a tech thing that we're talking about is. The digital world is now bleeding into the physical world. Do you think that's true or not?
Elaborate a little more.
Okay, so for more digital world stuff, let's say obviously people are getting more into VR, like the virtual reality stuff, right? So like you're seeing the Google Glasses thing become a thing. You're seeing VR headsets from Apple come out where people are like, there's a meme that says like 20 years ago, like your parents were like, don't sit too close to the TV, you ruin your eyes. And now we got a phone on our face, it's glued to our face, and you're looking at it, and it's like, okay. So it's kind of went ass backwards in that way. I don't know. There's just things about reality that are just more digital. People are more online. Like people are more involved with things online than they've ever been involved before. And probably, again, we'll just bring it up, it's probably because of COVID and things like that and the way technology moves. People with the antisocialness, people are just more want to be behind a digital world where they don't have to be bothered, where they can feel more convenient, where they can feel more safe and do stuff. So, we're all connected on computers and devices all the time. So, like, we are more of a digital world than a physical world anymore. That's what I meant by that. Like, can use, like, people just don't go out and do stuff. I mean, I guess it kind of bleeds into our social, antisocial, or is it stuff like that? But, I just think there's something to do with the digital world nowadays. It's just becoming more of a thing,
Yeah, it is because your house is not your world because a lot of people don't, like you said, don't want to go out. They don't want to go out shopping. They don't want to go buy their food. They don't want to go out for dinner. Anything like that. It's just everything can be handed to them at their front door nowadays. Everything, except for hookers, maybe, but still, even then.
Well, I mean, let's put it this way: everything in the physical world is now influenced by what happens online.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you think about it from
movies
or what happens on whatever's on social media, like whatever's trending on Twitter, like it becomes more of a reality or whatever.
Right. What happens with the news is now on Twitter and whatever have you.
I mean, there's just things that are those are things where what influences popular culture too. Like people are saying that too. Like what's going on with pop culture, a lot of stuff obviously is influenced through the digital online world. So. Your Twitters, your Facebooks, your Reddits, your stuff like that. That's where people go for stuff, and whatever's trending, is they assume is what's popular. Now, obviously, when you go to school, if you're in school, you listen to people the way they have their slang talk and everything else like that.
Right.
Like my friend Tommy that came over the other day to say what up Lincoln, because Lincoln always calls him bruh. Say, what's up, bruh, or whatever Lincoln says to him. And he's like, what up, Top G, #1 Top G. I laugh because that's something the kids say to each other. I didn't even heard that. I'm like, what do you call him, Top G? Apparently that's a thing to say stuff. I thought it was funny. I laughed my ass off when he said that to him.
Oh, God.
He's like, what up, Top G? So that was cool.
Remember when we said OG, I still say OG.
Yeah, we say so G, but I thought Top G was the funny thing.
Wow.
Whatever. What up, Top G?
When I see Link, I'm going to say that.
Yeah, you can say it to him.
Remind me to say it to him.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Or and it's something that someone said this too, and it's part of my other topic, and I'll just bleed into it. Is communities are moving more online. So people that are being less social about stuff, they say, what was the word I'm looking for? I guess it's just like communication and stuff like that. Everybody finds like these communities they feel like they belong to on Reddit, on social media, or whatever, and they just become a community of something, and that's how they feel like they belong in. So like that is something that people might be doing. It could be on Discord. It could be on anything. I mean, just
right, like instead of clicks at school, they're having clicks on online. That's what it is.
That's, yeah, it's just like that's where they social gather, right?
Yeah.
Before people would go outside and social gather, you gather online. You gather in Discord with all your friends and you hang out, or you gather on Reddit with the community of people and you talk about stuff. It could be about GameStop and the stock they're doing, and people are just a community of people online,
right.
or it could be anything, right? It could just be any hobby or anything you're into. Apparently, last year I read some statistic from Facebook saying that there was like a couple billion like social interaction groups created on Facebook, and that's where like people met and did things. Now some of them were about going out and physically going and do stuff, but a lot of them were just gathering online and getting on and talking about stuff, or just reading stuff and talking about stuff. I don't know, it's weird to me, but like someone made a good point during COVID, and we talked about this before with Metallica and a bunch of other people like Taylor Swift or whatever else that do this, but they did a digital online concert on Fortnite, right? And they had over 10 million people tune into it. Now that's pretty cool, right, to see a concert. And they had Marshmello, who he is, the DJ or whatever. He's really popular with kids. Kids like him, or whatever. Right. Before he was more for adults. He's the guy that went out to be for adults, and then kids growing into him. Now he's catered more stuff to kids. So they had Marshmello come in and do a DJ, and like you could get online with your Fortnite character and pay money, or maybe it was free. I can't remember. It probably was free. But gather and listen to a live concert he was actually doing at a studio at Fortnite, but producing it and doing it through the game. 10 million people around the world joined it and listened to it. That was cool. So now they do this every year where they have digital online concerts for people, and they got like Travis Scott and like just the people that are famous now for kids or whatever, they're singers. That is more of like a digital thing that's going online. We could talk about too. It's the concert world and stuff like that. I thought that was cool. Like that is something that someone used technology for a positive. Like, hey, we didn't have any concerts here. How can we do one? Let's get everybody online, and this is for free, and people can get on and listen to them. I thought that was a good idea.
That's what that like you said with Metallica. They did it, but of course they charge people.
Right.
But a lot of they did it because of COVID. Mm-hmm. Because everybody was cooped up in the house, so they threw concerts on. At their studio, and played live and shit for everybody. They did it for good. All their money went to their charity that they have. Mm-hmm. Other bands have done it too. I think it's really cool because if you're not going to spend $60-$70 plus for a ticket where you could just pay $10-$15 to watch it at home, in your underwear kind of thing. Or even when so much as having concerts like Taylor Swift did it. I know Metallica did it too. Where they had concerts, but they played it in the movie theater. Instead of spending $150 for a ticket at the place, you watched it in the movie theater, and you got to sit down the whole time. You get drinks and shit, which I think is really cool that they do stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It's again one of those. It could be a convenience thing. You could see it as a lazy thing, but I think it's better in a way because you don't have 50,000 sweaty dudes and smell like ball sack and weed
right
the entire time. You can just sit in the theater while you can smell popcorn.
Right.
That kind of shit.
They're, like I was talking about before, I think we said it in the last podcast too, like I always say, is that with the VR stuff, people want to be able to not have to go somewhere, right? That's what I was saying, like the digital world is bleeding into the physical world. This could kind of bleeds into that topic as well, is if you're can pay $500 to go physically sit at a seat and watch a Blues playoff game, or you can pay $100 or $50 to sit with your VR headset, and it makes it look like you're right there, and you can still go in your own bathroom, in your own house, and do your own convenience, and you can take it off, and you don't have to waste time going there. Why wouldn't you do that? And they offers what both you're still offering both things, but also you're offering how to make more money for people, and you could have 10,000 people that pay this kind of money and make more money just by looking at it from a VR perspective. It's a way of being there without having to physically be there, and you still get the experience. It's not as a great experience not being there in person. There's nothing like being in person at a concert or anything you go to or game or something live, but it's kind of like you're getting to bring that experience at home and do that stuff. That's kind of what the digital world's kind of doing nowadays, which we saw. We're going to be seeing it with concerts. We're going to be seeing it with all the VR headset. Maybe this is the first step in the direction when they did it on Fortnite and people got the experience. They're like, hey, maybe there's something here to this, So that's maybe part of the problem with or not problem, but part of the we could call that something that's a regional idea.
Yeah.
It wouldn't just new with culture. We've never seen this before.
Right.
It's something that might be expanding the world, making it a positive. It could be a negative. I mean, I don't know.
I've seen. I forgot where I read this at. So don't quote me on the exact statistics of it.
Mm-hmm.
But bands who do like concerts online, where you pay $15-$20 to see them, whatever, they get more revenue out of that than they do the actual concerts, because at the concerts they have to pay for the venue, they have to pay the crew, they have to pay merchandise costs, they have to pay all this stuff. So like your $150 ticket, the band might see $10-$20 out of it, if that.
Mm-hmm.
And you times that by, say, it's a venue that has 8,000 people. That's you're only making 80 grand tops, maybe.
Right.
But then if you buy the online viewing of it, when you watch it, the kids watch it at home, you're paying the streaming service or whatever the hell it is for maybe $2-$3 per person. Mm-hmm. So if you have your 8,000 people again, you're only paying 24 grand. Or you're getting paid, upwards of 80-90 grand just for that. So, you're getting paid more for people buying it at home. And then if you give them the convenience of being able to watch it for the next 2 or 3 days, 24 hours for the next 3 or 4 days, then you're making money.
Right.
You're appeasing that person, because they might not be able to get it that day because they have to work or something like that. They can watch it a couple of days later from then. Or even, like I said, watch it multiple times and stuff like that. And that's why I try to tell some of my friends who are having those kind of when they have those concerts, invite them over and charge your friend $5. Bam, you charge your friends $5 to watch a Metallica concert. Okay, I'm in.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm talking about. Like that stuff like that might be a good positive thing that might be coming with original ideas with stuff. And maybe that's the future of sporting events or live entertainment or anything.
That's what they used to have pay-per-view for wrestling.
Right.
Of course, they charged out the ass when they did that.
I could see WWF.
Wow.
WWE now. Both of them combined. I could see actually them being one of the first people to do it. I mean, can you imagine just watching wrestling from a headset, or watching even boxing or
that's
UFC?
What they do. It's on Peacock now. You can get the pay-per-views that we used to spend $20-$30 for.
No, I know that. I'm saying, could you imagine that being in VR? Like you're sitting in the seat and you're watching them do that. You could be at the Royal Rumble or whatever. I never got to get to experience that. I only got to go to one thing in my life, and was when Stone Cold. It was after the day of when Owen Hart fell off the ring and died, and they did a dedication to him in St. Louis or whatever. Right. And we got to see some wrestling, but a lot of people just dedicating the entire time to his death. I'm like, fuck, man. It's like, this sucks, because it's like I hate that he died, but at the same time, it's like, I want to watch people wrestle. Right. All I got to see is Stone Cold come out and do a dedication. And he flicked everybody off and threw beer in the crowd. I was like, I wanted to see him drive a Zamboni down or fuck somebody up or do something. You know?
That's what he's for, man.
Austin 316, baby.
Right. Says I just whipped your ass.
Yeah.
And I was been watching on Peacock the WCW versus WWF Monday Night War thing.
Really?
It's pretty fucking cool.
Nice.
All the inside things that I didn't even know about.
It's cool going back and reliving. Like I said, some of the best podcasts I've listened to have been wrestlers, because their stories are just so unique and cool, because you just don't know nothing about them, and then you listen to them.
We didn't have the internet, for one.
We didn't have the internet.
They kept everything secret, and up until like the early or mid 2000s or so, that they had to be in character 24/7. You were paid $1.2 million or whatever to be on all the time. So like if you're the Undertaker and some kid comes up to you in the early 90s, mid 90s, whatever, says, "Ooh, Undertaker, can I get your order? You're supposed to give them the cold, turn around, and give them the cold shoulder.
The look.
Yeah, you were supposed to be in character
With your wet hair and
24/7. Yeah, praying to a fucking urn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of shit. Yeah, you were supposed to be on that.
Yeah, you had what's his name walking around with his fucking chicken neck syndrome, whatever they're called, turkey neck syndrome.
Oh yeah,
What was his name?
fuck, what was his name?
Paul Bear.
Yeah.
He was a weird ass looking dude, wasn't he? But he played the character perfect for
perfect,
the Undertaker.
Yeah, but dude, you should have seen his older shit. Yeah,
don't
yeah,
want
played
to.
Paul Bearer, his old shit when he was his old name.
I can imagine that guy being in like a '70s porn or something weird.
His actual, I don't know if it was his real name or if it was his wrestling name, but it was his name was Percival Pringle.
What?
Yeah,
Percival
Pringle.
Weird.
Yeah,
Man,
I
it's
think
got
that
the
was his
idea
real
Pringles
name, and he wasn't in black and like he was all colored and sparkles and shit like that.
All
He was
right.
bedazzled.
So I got a couple more topics.
Okay.
So this is kind of a side topic, but this is kind of
It's always a side topic.
I know it is. So tabletop games are making a huge comeback because of screen fatigue.
No,
Yes, they are.
are they?
Yes, they are. I looked it up.
It's not because of nostalgia.
It's not because of nostalgia. It's because people are getting sick of just being on their phones and stuff like
Good.
that. So
Good.
there's been a hype up, and it could have been. It's been this year and within last year that they said around like Christmas time and everything else, they saw a really big uptick in board games like Monopoly and
That's good. They
Parcheesi
need
and
to
all
have
that
that
stuff. Like
shit.
people are bringing back like want to sit around and interact with families and do stuff. So there's been an increase of people who actually want to socialize and play tabletop games. And one of them was some guy who like did a Kickstarter for some new type of tabletop game or whatever. And he got within the first day like $300,000
Wow.
for the idea as to kickstart it, and he ended up getting like over I think $3 or $4 million for the game. And it came out was like the #1 tabletop game that came out, or whatever.
Wow.
And people just saw like, hey, maybe there's something here. Maybe people want to play tabletop games again, not just the really advanced ones where the dorks play or whatever, but actual serious ones that kids and everybody and families could play. And they said there's been a huge like uptick of people doing it. And be frank with you. Now that I have kids, we play tabletop games all the time. I'm playing like the matching game with the kids, or I'm playing Candyland, or I'm playing Guess Who, or whatever it is. And I kind of enjoy it. Like I kind of miss going back. There is some little bit of nostalgia or going back to my childhood. Like, hey, I enjoy playing this game. We haven't done Monopoly or any of that stuff yet because it's a little too advanced for them. But playing those simple games, it's like, man, this was it. This was what was fun back in the day. No TV, no nothing else. You're just sitting there with your friends or family playing a game, and like you're just interacting, having fun.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. That should fucking happen.
I mean, my son came home from school the other day, and he's like, Dad, do we have Uno? I'm like, he's 5. And I'm like, how the fuck do you know about Uno? He's like, oh, I've been playing Uno at school. He's like, do you know how to play War? Do you know how to play Old Maid? I'm like, man, these are games I used to play with Grandma at her house all the time because we didn't have anything back then. It's like, yeah, I know how to play War and stuff. Let's play
Grandpa
it.
shows you how to play poker.
Yeah, so you can show Grandma how to play poker or whatever. But I'm like, yeah, War is fun. My mom or my wife was like, do you remember how to play War? I was like, well, shit, yeah, I know how to play War. I was like, I don't remember how to play Old Maid. But I was like, I remember how to play Goldfish and stuff like that. But I'm like, I kind of got excited about it. I was like, yeah, I'll get a pack of cards and we'll play. And that's what we've been doing now at the house.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah, so that was something cool. Little side note of something about it. Another topic I had, so you didn't know that, so I stumped you. Tabletop games are making a
That's
trendy
good.
comeback.
I'm very, very happy for that.
Yeah. I mean, this ain't really a big topic, but it's kind of I always touch on this because I hear stuff about it, but why is it so difficult to maintain friendships as now at our age or even our younger age? So I listened to some lady's podcast for an hour who's like a psychologist about friendships and about things, relationships.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just wanted to bring this in here and talk about it. And I thought it was interesting. And most of it's pretty obvious, right? But there's other underlying reasons why it's hard to maintain, but the most obvious ones are as you get older, your hobbies and interests change, and their hobbies and interests change. And
Of course.
some of the obvious ones are like you grow apart because you guys move away, or you're not in school, so you don't see each other all the time, or most people don't make efforts, whatever. Or it's a one, most of the time, the friendships only stay around if you actually make an effort and see a person face to face. And then the next one, you could just be friends if you talk to each other on the phone or text each other all the time. That's the way of maintaining friendships. It's not as good, but you still maintain your friendship. Obviously, if you email people, nobody stays friendships by with email. Like that's an old, outdated thing she was saying. But she said that was something that was like the first form of communication people that look for long distance didn't have, or didn't talk on the phone.
Right.
And she said a lot of people think they maintain friendships because of social media, which have ruined friendships. Because you stay up to date with people with their big announcements. Hey, we're moving. I graduated. I did this. Yada yada. But they might chime in and say like, "Congratulations," whatever. But that's their communication. They don't make any effort to say like, "Hey, how are things going? Like, what are you doing?" The small talk stuff, like
Right.
me and you do all the time, whatever. People that are you're close with each other.
Yeah.
So that's like, it seems so hard to think about that, but really, it's really simplistic when you think about it. Like that's just what it comes down to. I mean, I wanted to see what you said as well, why it's difficult, but I think there's always like the easy things there, and there's always outliers with everything. So what do you think? I got more about it, but I wanted to see what you had to say.
I can see a lot of people, like you said, being caught up with their own lives. You know, they have their own things to do. They have kids. They move, whatever. You know, it's just it's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you grow up, and then sometimes you grow apart.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to hold on to friends for years and years. You know, like I said, I've got 4 people in my life that I've had friends for going on. What is it? 24 now.
Mm-hmm.
26 years now. You know, I'm sorry. Yeah, 26 years. And it's you know, I can't give advice on how to hold on to them. I just did because, you know, we clicked. We all liked the same music. You know, we were all same classes together. You know, we in the same, somewhat the same area. Yeah, I moved a couple times out of state, whatever. But I still kept in contact with them. Why? Because they're my bros. There's you know, those are guys who are like me. You know, if you think my wit is bad or is good, whatever you want to call it, you know, imagine meet my friend Sam. You would probably, you know, not just you, I'm just in general, just anybody would probably be just crying in the corner because you know the way if me and Sam both get you, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You know, if Sam gets you, it hurts. If I get you, it hurts. But both of us together, you're fucked.
Tag team.
Yeah, it's you know you're getting your ass beat on this because we would be so quick on making fun of you or saying something to you if you say something stupid that we thought was stupid, or if you want to talk shit about a movie or something like that. You know, it's just my friends are kind of like a branch off of me because a lot of them we all, like I said, we share so many qualities that are the same.
Yeah.
Yet we still have our differences. We still have our own other circle of friends that we don't know about or you know that they have or we have, whatever. And it's just I don't know other than having commonalities what it is. I know how to make friends. I don't know how to. I can't give advice on how to keep them because everybody's different. You know, there's even with family, it's hard because you know they have their own lives and same circles. It's the same thing. Yeah, they're family, and half of them are on Facebook, or some of them don't want to be on my Facebook because of the shit I post, whatever have you with me. But that's fine too. But I don't. If they don't want to see it, then I don't want to see their shit. You know, fuck them. It's just. It's not hard to make friends. It's just hard. It's hard to keep them.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of people, I do feel really bad for them because there's so many fakes out there nowadays.
Well, right, and that's you make fake friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And I think you know one of the hard thing about I might have to swallow some humble pie here or whatever. I think, and I didn't put the two and two in perspective for a long time, but and you probably did. Everybody's guilty of this. So just say it's not just me. So you have these old friendships with people, right? Ones from grade school, high school, college, whatever they are, and you finally meet these people again or have an interaction with them. You go out and do something with them. And when they're telling you about their life, instead of just trying to take it in and soak it in and enjoy it, whatever,
Congratulate them.
or congratulate them, whatever it is, you judge them and say, dude, you used to like, for example, you'd be like, you used to like, you know, Slayer.
Nintendo, hanging out playing Nintendo.
Cock. But for example, like you can say
Yeah.
stuff like that and you're thinking in
Yeah.
your head, like, man, you're not the same person I once knew. Well, they've
Right.
grown and they've done things different or whatever, and you've grown and done things different. So, you know, someone's like, cut them some slack or whatever. You're going
Right.
to think about it from that way. But sometimes people grow away from you, or it's a good thing that you want people away from you. And other times people grow away from you from the opposite, and you might not have anything in common interest, and you realize that, and you're like, well, we're different people. We're not the same people. We have this nostalgia that we used to hang out, or we have these these recurrences, and you reminisce about the stuff, whatever. But that's all it is now, and you guys don't have that type of friendship anymore, and you kind of have to come to I guess terms with that, right?
Yeah.
And I have had to do this because I don't know. Sometimes I've talked to you when you're my therapist about like friendships or about whatever, and it's like I've just made peace with it. I've said a million times, come to reality. It's like there's certain people that are supposed to be in your life, and there's certain people that are not. And it doesn't mean these people are bad people. It just means they've grown and they've went a different direction than you have. And I'm very guilty of every time I hang out with people, it's like I try to relate things. I'm like, hey man, we used to do this and talk about this or do this, and it's like they're completely polar opposite of the people that I know, and it's like, well, I don't want to spend time with these people anymore because I don't like them anymore, or what's going on, and that shouldn't outlook I shouldn't have, but I just do because it's just who I am.
It happens.
It happens, but also sometimes hanging out with these people like this, it's like grasping for straws, and you realize you don't have anything in common. There is no common ground between you guys. You have no interest, or the interests you do have are very small, and either you can accept that and want to stay friends with them, or you can't. I'm one of those people, I just can't, dude. And it's like if we don't have any common interests, like you're saying with your friends, like with Sam or anybody else, I can't do it, dude. Like if we can't sit there and shoot the shit, and it's like there's no effort and it's not free, like we do or some other friends we do with, I don't want to put effort into a friendship anymore. I'm sorry, it's just what it is. And I think that's something that a lot of people can't come to terms with, or they just end up blowing people off, or like you said, you have a lot of fake friends that pretend to be your friend, and you don't know, or you do know, and that's why you don't have any relationship with them anymore. So,
Right. Well, thing to think about with that is even you. God damn it, that's my train of thought now.
well, just things with friends, like why is it hard to maintain them and stay with them while you're sitting there gaining your thoughts back? I think that it just wraps it up in a tight bow. There's so many different things that you can call reasons why you get rid of friendships, and I think you made the best point about it earlier was most of it is just to do with your life and priorities, and if you have family or not, or what you do for your job, and if you move away or what you're doing. Like if you don't fit them in your schedule and try to or put effort into it, you're not going to have them, and that's just what it is. It's either you make friends a priority, or you don't. At the end of the day, that really can sum it up as well.
Well, like for some people, especially for I can honestly say this, that your friends are your family growing up, and then I mean they're like that with I have no more things about my friends than I actually know about my family members.
Mm-hmm.
I can actually sit down right now and tell you most of their birthdays, but family members, nope, not at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I've known them all my whole entire life. My friends, like I said, I've known 20 plus years.
Well, I think with friends when you're young, you share secrets. You share things with them because you're comfortable with them, and you might not share things with your family. Because even if you do with your mom and dad, you're really close to them. There might be things you keep because it might be a friend thing you only feel comfortable telling them, or it might be you can't tell them about something. It could be both those things.
I just did the math. I haven't known Sam 26 years. I've known him 33 years.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
1991, dude.
Isn't it funny that we both have best friends who are named Sam?
Yeah.
I didn't think about that until now. I just put two and two together, but I thought that was funny. But he never gave me a moose on the news like you did.
I missed that miss on the news.
I actually thought about looking that up and maybe getting that for a birthday present.
Dude, those things are rare as fuck right now.
Are they really?
Especially
Is
the
it
moose
really
one.
a moose on a news?
No, it was a moose, Beanie Baby, but he put it on the news.
Oh, so you called it moose on the news?
Yeah.
Where did he get a news from to put it on?
He made
moose?
one.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, it's not that hard to make.
Okay.
You just have to be able to make a couple knots.
Mm-hmm. You're good at making nooses?
I think it's called a hangers knot or something.
Or something like that, yeah, because they hang people with them.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense. Moose on a news. I thought it was actual thing they sold at McDonald's.
No,
Like,
no,
moose on a
no.
news was actual fucking thing. So I was actually gonna look it up, moose on a news, and see if I can find one for you.
No, that's one of the rare Beanie Babies.
Yeah. So I mean, just wrapping up the topic or whatever. What is it? Why is it so difficult to maintain friendships? I think it's all that encompassed in one thing, right?
That's one thing I want to say. I'm sorry.
What? Go ahead.
I do want to say that a lot of not just coming outies with my friends and stuff like that is I can not talk to them for 2-3 months and or see them 2-3 months, but I have a conversation with them like we just left. That was the next day.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we
You've
were
said that
left off.
before. You said that before with some of your friends, and I had that same relationship. Like with me and my buddy Brandon, we're one of those people. We don't talk on the phone ever, and we don't really see each other that much. But we text on the phone or on Twitter or whatever it is, back and forth every day. Like, whatever, sending us shit or funny shit or whatever. And that's still us making an effort to maintain a relationship, but it's not the relationship that I really want as a friendship. But it's what I get, and I'll take it because it's better than nothing, right? And then when we do see each other and talk, it's like we haven't skipped a beat. It's like we might not have hung out in 6 months, but when we hang out, it's like we're still friends. It's like nothing's happened. We're excited to see each other. We talk about stuff, yada yada. It's like a day hasn't passed. Like we haven't seen each other. That's like you were saying.
Right. And going to the other side of the coin here is that a lot of people are bitching that you don't want to hang out, you don't want to do this, you don't want to do that, or you don't talk to me. Well, I'm sorry, but a phone works both ways. In
Yeah.
order to get a text, you should answer a text,
Mhm.
or you should start a text and get an answer.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I will not leave anybody hanging. If somebody calls me or text me, I'll eventually call or text them back.
Mm-hmm.
It might take me a day or so, but maybe because I'm busy or it slips my mind or something like that. But I will get fucking back to you.
Well,
You know?
see, that's better than not. I think a lot of people get busy and they just forget, and then they just write it off and like, oh, I'll text them back later, and they never do. They do it with family and do a lot with other
Yeah.
stuff, and I'm guilty of it. I mean, everybody's guilty of it,
Right.
but I'm always good about getting back to people because of that same reason, because I wouldn't want someone to do that to me.
Yeah.
And everybody checks their phone. I mean,
course.
it's just reality of what it is. If you don't
Again.
check your phone, you act like you didn't get my message or something.
You
Go-
need a new phone.
Either that, or you're not a good liar.
Right.
Let's just put it that way. So that was it. It was just something stupid, small. I always bring up friendship stuff, but
Not here.
I think that's one of those things that are just, it gets lost in everybody. And then, of course, you look at other people that surround themselves with 20 friends, and it's like, I don't envy you having 20 friends anymore, because even why it still might be cool to maintain and try to please all those people and be up their ass all the time, that's a full-time job, bro. I don't want to do that anymore.
Right.
I'd rather have a small group of friends that we talked about, like in a couple, and that's it. But again, just even talking about that, I think you said something that sparked a memory with me. Or it all is now that I've gotten older, I'm the one. I've noticed that I always make the effort, kind of like you. You always make an effort, and when it comes to like even putting things together and doing stuff and planning stuff, I never used to be this way, but I think I just kind of grown on me as I've gotten older. I've become the planner. When I do stuff, like if I want something done, I just plan it and do it because I know no one else is going to do it. And if you think someone's going to do it for you, then you're fucking wrong, because most people don't have the time and don't care.
Right.
So it could be for a sporting event. It could be putting a sports team together. I've noticed more with sports teams than anything. Like, no one's going to put a team together. I'm like, fuck, I'm going to put a team together and make my own team. And I did, and that's just what happened. And so it happens with stuff in life too. Like, if you think your friends are going to call you and put things together, unless they're really proactive, most people won't. They don't do it on purpose. It's just like you said, people are busy with their own life and doing their own shit. So they just they don't think about it probably. Or they're like, oh, well, they're not going to care. They're not going to mind. So, and some people get really offended about it. Like you said, like I remember you told me your one friend you didn't talk to for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks because you got busy with work, and he took you out of his wedding, and you got really butthurt and offended about it. And it's like, well, cool, dude, then you're not really my friend, because if you just would call me and get to understanding, you would understand and know. But it's like, you could have called me for the last 3 weeks. Why didn't you call me?
Right.
Were you busy too? Sure. Okay. Well, then what are you mad about, right?
Exactly.
And that's why it's a double-edged sword. So I have final thoughts, and my end topic. It's my most random topic, but it's a really thinker. Do you have any other topics or anything you want to bring up before
No,
we do
this is
that?
my final one.
All right, you want to go first for your final one, and I'll bring mine up?
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Final thought. I thought.
No final
Oh.
thoughts. I'll do final thoughts at the end.
Okay.
Just talking about what's your last final topic.
All right. You got 3 wishes.
Step up to the mic.
You got 3 wishes.
Yeah.
No bringing back the dead.
Mm-hmm.
No extra wishes.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to use the stuff right now.
Mm-hmm.
Where are they?
That's a really good one. Well, I think okay. I think most of these are not pretty obvious. Everything's gonna be a little bit different for everybody, right?
Obviously.
I would wish for good health for myself and all my friends and family, so that we could live a longevity of a long life. Sounds stupid and cliche, but I mean, you can live yourself by yourself, but then you're by yourself all the time, and I want to live out my kids and my family. So something like that would always sound cool to me. I want to be fucking rich so I can have all the money to do and experience things. I don't have to be slave to my job and everything else, so I can go out and venture out and do things I want to do, invest in things I want to do. And then if I don't know if this could be a wish or not, but if I could wish to still end up where I'm at now with my family and my kids and everything, but become a professional hockey player along the way with the same friends and family, I would wish that, because I'd want my kids, obviously, and stuff's going on. But if I want to have a career profession, I'd want to do it as a professional hockey player, so I could do something I actually enjoy and love, with all the other caveats. I mean, I'll probably be rich anyway doing that, but I think that's what I would do. I would do something like that. I mean,
Okay.
maybe that sounds dumb, but I mean, I only got a couple minutes there, 30 seconds to think about it. So I haven't thought about this in a long time. I'm sure there's better answers out there, but to me,
That's what you want.
I'm not going to say like, hey, Miss America, I want world peace, because that's never going to fucking happen. So,
Right,
you know,
exactly.
even if you wish that, it probably would never happen. What about you?
Eventually, it would go to hell anyway.
Yeah.
Obviously, health for my friends and family, like you. I like that one.
Yeah.
But what I would do with it is rewind time
Mm-hmm.
and take us back with the knowledge that we have now.
Mm-hmm.
Take it back 20, 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, like everything you know right now, all the knowledge that you have right now, 25 years ago. Basically, like relive it, but with the knowledge you have now.
I thought about answering something cool like that. That's why I said if I could go back and I would be certified to be like, hey, I made it to become a professional hockey player.
Right.
If I had kids, it would still be with my wife. I'd
Yeah.
still have Lincoln and Lila and all that stuff because I'd want the same stuff and be
Right.
with the same people and family like you and my friends and family. And I wouldn't want things to change. So to me, that's kind of the same rope I would choose. I still want my same childhood, the same stuff I experienced. It'd be cool to bring back the same knowledge and stuff, but then you'd be, you know, they always say, you know, with wisdom or with age comes wisdom and all that kind of stuff like that, or you're more wise and stuff. And that's why people like you listen to the guy that's been here for 60 years, not the guy
Well,
that's
that's what I'm
been
saying. That's why you take the knowledge you have now, so that way you know better than to do certain things.
here. Right.
25
Well,
years
yeah,
ago.
that's part of maturity and stuff. But it's like
I'd stay away from pizza.
Right. Most people aren't mature at 15 years old or 14 years
course,
old, right?
yeah.
So it's like, but I agree with you. That'd be really cool to have that wisdom and knowledge
Yeah.
to bring back with you. It'd also be scary because you know what's coming with technology and all the other stuff that's coming. So you kind
That's
of
okay. Then you invest in Apple or something like that. Like,
yeah, invest in Apple and Amazon. I mean, really, I mean, you could say that and be like, if I had the wisdom and knowledge now, I mean, you know, if I take away just being rich and all that kind of stuff, it's like, yeah, you can just invest in Amazon, Apple, and be set the rest of your life. You know, like stupid questions like that. I mean, it's truth, but it's what it is. What about your other ones?
I'd go along lines with that, but have endless bank account.
Mm-hmm.
No matter, and I didn't have to pay any taxes on any of it.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, you know, tax free totally for the rest of my life.
I mean, if you have so much money, I mean, a retarded amount of money, the taxes ain't gonna matter, bud. At
Right.
that point, you
I know, but still-
but I
but-
get it. Yes, no pay, no taxes.
You know,
would be awesome.
I want to be able to have like a gold card that, you know, if I'm out to lunch buying my friends lunch or something like that, and it's 151, 52, then I just pull out my card, bam, there it is.
Yep.
You know, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Or if I want to buy a house and this is what it comes to, bam, it's paid for.
Yep.
You know, that kind of shit. And the third one, I had to think about a lot, but I'm not even sure exactly what.
I know.
It would be more towards my health kind of thing, where I would start over completely. I would find out the day where like I started eating a lot of pizza at McDonald's and all this shit, and not do it. I'd redo some of my tattoos and get like a better artist or something like that, and totally.
I figure you would wish yourself to be like in a good band or do something.
I thought about that, but then and also that's the other thing would be better muscle memory. Like I want to have like James Hetfield's muscle memory, like the songs he knows how to play on guitar. I immediately know how to play those too. That kind of thing. I kind of I will take back
Going back.
my own personal health thing. And
I mean, you wish that in the first one. You want personal
Right.
good health in your
Right.
family. I mean, that's kind of what you would get.
I would want to be able to play music by ear. I want to hear a song one time and immediately I picked it up, and on any instrument.
Some guy, I don't know if this is a viral video or not. He walked into what do they call those music stores?
Guitar Center.
Guitar Center, and some guy was playing guitar, and he was sitting down, and he goes, "Hey, if you can play this song by ear," because the guy was playing the guitar for a while, he goes, "I'll buy you his guitar right now." And the guy goes, "What? Are you fucking with me or whatever?" I can't tell if it's real or fake, but I come to find out it was fake or whatever. Yeah. And then he comes in and plays the video, or whatever, and he starts crying or whatever. You seen this video?
Yeah.
Okay. And then at the end, he said something to him or about something or whatever, and he was a comedian.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was a comedian at first, but I thought it was real. If that was true, there is people out there that they do that stuff. Like, hey, if you can play this note, I'll buy you this musician or whatever. They do it for a good cause. It's not for a shitty cause or whatever. Yeah. And at first I thought it was real. I was like, hey, man, this guy doesn't have a guitar or something bad happened to him. You're getting a guitar or whatever and makes him feel better, and this is all he cares about. Like, or this is like his favorite hobby or whatever. It's like, that's cool. Like that. Right. I wish I saw more stuff like that was genuine and cool online. Not the shit that people are like, hey, I'm going to go give this homeless person $100 to make myself feel better, but I'm not really doing it to make myself feel better. I'm doing it because I want people to like my videos and do stuff. It's like
Right.
you're doing it for being a good person and making the content so you get the money to redo it for more good stuff like Mr. Beast does. I used to think Mr. Beast was a big douchebag.
Yeah.
If you know who Mr. Beast is.
Yeah.
And after I listened to him on Joe Rogan, I'm like, man, he's actually a good person. I'm like, what was I thinking? Well, I just judged somebody by his book because I just didn't know anything about him. Come to find out, he was this guy that went to school. He hated fucking school. He told his parents he was going to school. He took all the money that they gave him for school. He invested it into his YouTube and stuff. And then eventually when he blew up and made a bunch of money, he told his parents, like, I didn't go to school. I'm invested in this. And they're like, what? And they find out how successful he was. Now he's number one person on YouTube. His parents at first were mad, but then they accepted that he's doing what he loves, enjoys what he's doing, and he's the best at it. I thought it was a cool story. And then come to find out most of his stuff he does for good reasons. And then he gets money out of it. And people are like, oh, he's just a clout chaser, he's all this stuff. And it's like, dude, he's actually helping people
Right.
do stuff. So I thought that was cool,
Yeah.
So did Lemmy.
Actually, there is a person you do know by the name of Beethoven. Or I'm sorry, Mozart. Mozart would actually listen to music that people would play, like his students or even people just randomly playing before he lost his hearing. I'm sorry, no, Beethoven was deaf. He would play his song. There's a song, and then he would sit there and play it back immediately right after, and says, instead of having this measure, this note in this measure, you should change it to this, and then instead of this one, you should do it like that. It's like he memorized the whole fucking thing, and then improvised right after it, immediately right after he heard it. It's like, fuck, man. I wish I had, I had that kind of shit, or I had, perfect pitch and stuff like that. And it's all of this music and shit.
There's some people that are just musically inclined that can play things by ear. It's a gift.
Well, I know. Plus, you can actually take classes for it.
Oh, you can?
Yeah,
That's cool.
To be pitch, it's called pitch perfect. There's not a lot of people in the world that are perfectly pitched like that.
I know Brandon can play, my buddy. He can pick up music and play it by ear a little bit.
Yeah.
Not a lot, but he can
Yeah.
he can do some songs and do stuff. But there is people out there that,
Yeah, they can hear that. And they can tell you exactly what note that is.
well, that guy that does stuff, what's his name? He was on Jimmy Fallon not too long ago, and he makes music by instruments, but he can listen to a sound and he can reproduce it, or he can take
Yeah.
a sound of a cup and a spoon and,
Yeah, I
and
know
turn
who-
it. You know what I'm
yeah.
talking about? That
Yeah.
guy's really cool. I like people like that. They're really musical. Or that kid that they're saying that some kid that might be reincarnated by somebody that is pitch perfect. Some little kid that
I don't know who that
I'll have to show you on Instagram. Kid's fucking amazing. He can play every instrument, and he does a lot of stuff on the computer as well. And he's like 6 years old, and he's making full blown music. And people are like, "How did he get this?" So like, we just gave him a guitar one day. He just picked it up, and he just started learning all this stuff. Obviously YouTube and other things have helped as well.
Right.
He's like you're saying, he's one of those pitch perfect. But he can pick up the guitar, or pick up the drums, and just start playing a song. I'm like, we didn't teach him this. Like he just does it. Like we don't know how to explain it. And people are like, this has to be someone reincarnated. Like that's what they believe about this guy. And he's like, he might be the Mozart or somebody that's really influential in music of our time. This kid growing up, I can't remember his name, but I follow him. He's got millions and millions of people that follow him because he's just a little kid that's doing it, and it's all honest and true. He's like, his sister will come over, he'll be like, hey, come over and make this weird noise. He'll be like doing something weird, and he'll take that and turn that into like a beat and stuff. And it's like,
Yeah.
how the fuck did he do that? I think the other guy is part of his influence as well that we're talking about from Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. I've always been jealous of that kind of stuff. There's people I've watched that are on pianos. They can do that too. They can hear a song and they can just start playing on the piano. And it's like, dude, that is such a cool talent. Some people just look at it like, oh, it's stupid. No, it's not stupid. It's very, very rare that anybody, you can call those people savants for all you want to call them, right? So, I don't know.
Yep. I got you.
All right, so last topic, and then
You always do that too. You always rub your hands together.
Mr. Burns face. Last
Yikes.
topic, and then final thoughts, because boys and girls, I think you guys are getting sick of listening to us talk. Anybody that's still listening. So, at some point in your childhood, you and your friends went outside to play together for the last time, and you didn't know.
This was supposed to be the topic, the main topic.
It was going to be a main topic, but I just turned it into the last topic because there's just so many things we could touch on. But this is a long podcast, so it's long form. So if you guys don't care, turn it off.
Right.
So to me, man, that hits deep. It's such
It
I
does.
forgot who actually quoted this because I've seen
It's
it
in a
on-
movie.
It's in a movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you know what movie it was from?
I couldn't remember. I'm thinking it's like Stand By Me or something like that.
Maybe
I can't remember.
I don't remember that from Stand By Me.
It happened in Stand By Me though, because that's that one summer after they find that dead body. They heard from each other. They heard of what happened to each other, but they never really saw each other.
Mm-hmm. Well, to me, the topic just hit home because it holds so much truth. Like, we all have friends. We all went outside and played, or we went outside and played just by ourselves and stuff with our sisters, brothers, whoever, or just being by ourselves. Yeah. And you didn't know it was your last time you're going outside and playing. And it's like, and I sat down and tried to think about it, dude. You can't remember that time. It could have been when I was 8, 9, 10. 12, 13. I mean, because you still go outside and play when you're a kid, like playing games and doing stuff for sports or whatever it could be. I don't really remember the day. It probably was when I went to high school. I would say probably between 6th and 8th grade, probably my 8th grade year. When I went to 9th grade, I probably didn't go outside and play anymore. And that's when I kind of think that's that transition where you kind of like go from more of a kid to a teen or an adolescent, whatever that time frame is. But it's hard to think about because, dude, it's so true. And it's kind of sad to think about, like, this is your last time you got to go outside and just have real, true freedom. No worries, no real, commitments to anything, no bills, no responsibility. Exactly. Thank you. I hate it because that's like the one thing that people just don't get. It's like, that's why being a kid is so awesome, because you get to experience all this stuff and you don't have to worry about anything. And it's just, there's just so much innocence and freedom into it. It's like you can't explain it to anybody until you've lived and breathed it. And then when you finally think about it, you're like, wow, I did this, and now it's gone over with, and it'll never come back. It's just what it is. So it's like, that's like true nostalgia to me when I heard something like that.
Right. Well, that's when a lot of people nowadays, they tell you that if you care about someone, tell them, you love them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sounds kind of gay to some people. Mm-hmm. But other people, like, you tell them you love them because you might not see them tomorrow. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of times, like, right before, like, days before I've had surgeries, and I've read about people not coming out of their surgery, and or they're stuck in comas for years and years and years and shit like that. You don't know when you're going to see that person, if ever again.
Right.
So you want to make sure you don't go to bed pissed off, or you don't. Or you make amends with people. Or
you hear lots of stories like that.
Yeah, you make sure you want to do that kind of stuff because, like you just said, you don't know if you're ever going to see them again.
I saw some reel the other day at middle of the night when I was putting my son to bed, and this guy was like, his dad came in, and I was like, of course, it's got to be a dad and son thing, like real or whatever. And the dad comes in and it's like, hey, do you want to come watch a movie with me? Like, he showed his son, like, through his life, like 3, 5, 7, 9, 12, whatever, and like he's 15 or 16 now. And all those years, every year he was doing something with his son. And by the time he got to like high school, his son started hanging out with them less or whatever, because that's what happens. Kids start hanging out with you less. Yeah. And he got to 15, walked in, he's playing Call of Duty with his friends, and he said, "Hey, you want to come watch a movie with me downstairs?" He said, "Yeah, Dad, I'm almost done with this game. It's online." And he's like, "I can't stop," because he asked him, "Can you stop?" He's like, "I'm online with friends. Once I'm done, I'll come downstairs. We'll watch the movie together." He's like, "Okay." And his dad's downstairs, and 3 hours pass by, and he's like, "Oh fuck, I forgot I was supposed to watch a movie with my dad." And goes downstairs, and by the time he goes downstairs, his dad's asleep on the couch. And he gets all upset and like mad about it or whatever. Or he's like, "I can't believe I did. I missed that with my dad." And the next day, his dad died.
Yeah.
And he's like, why did I just take the time to do this or whatever? And people are like, and then some guy actually commented on the post, goes, "Hey, I don't know if this post was referring to me or maybe this happened to somebody." He's like, "But this actually happened to me." He goes, "My dad asked me to do something. I came downstairs. He was sleeping. I gave him a hug and told him I loved him. And I went back upstairs and played games. I didn't want to watch a movie with him. Then the next morning I woke up and my dad was dead."
Yeah.
He just died in his sleep or something like that happened or whatever.
There's actually a song called "Cats in the Cradle," which is based on something like that.
Really?
Where the guy, kid was growing up, was born. He was growing up. His dad spent all his time with helping raise his kid, stuff like that. And then once the kid got older, started to get older, he was shying more and more away from his dad because he's like, "It's my dad. I didn't get hang out with him." Mm-hmm. So finally, I think the lyric of the song is, "Dad, now I'm just like you," and he was too late to hang out with his dad anymore because he spent too much time worrying about himself.
Yeah, and it's when you watch stuff like that, it hits home. It's like, God damn, dude. So like you listen to it and you sit there and like it makes you kind of like get emotional. At least it does with me now that I have kids, and I'm like, now this is why it makes me realize like spending time with my kids is important. Now, and if they get older, this is it's inevitable. It happens with everybody. They do this, and some kids never do it. They still hang out with their parents all the time. I mean, obviously, they're not going to hang out with them all the time, but you know what I mean. Like they still acknowledge them and like talk to them and like they act like parents and kids and stuff, but. There's definitely times like when you're a kid, like you're like, hang on, my parents, that's fucking stupid, or whatever like that, and you realize it's like we're only here for a short-lived time. So like, spend time with your kids. Make sure you spend time with your kids, and vice versa. You want your kids to spend time with you. You know, and that's what all you can hope for. But it was sad thinking about it. It's like, yeah, make sure you say things like that because you never know when the last day could be, right?
Right. Especially people like, this is a great example. I don't know if you ever heard the story or if you watched it or whatever. The Ultimate Warrior. Him and Vince McMahon were like huge ass rivals for the longest time. You know, Warrior was such a dick to Vince, and Vince was such a dick to him. You know, because basically Warrior wanted creative control of everything he did because that's what Hulk Hogan got. You know, he was so jealous and stuff like that. Well, one day he demanded something, said, "I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that," and well, Vince is like, you know, or Vince let him have his match, and then when he came back to the locker room, he's like, "Well, you know what? You're in a breach of contract because you said you were going to do. This is not in your contract. You can't do this kid today." He fired his ass, and then they didn't make amends, and I forgot exactly when Warrior died, but I think like 14 or 15, something like that. But they've made amends a few weeks before WrestleMania because Ultimate Warrior got put in the Hall of Fame. And then that Monday after WrestleMania, when they had the Hall of Fame, stuff like that, Warrior gave a big ass heartfelt speech, talking about, you know, growing up and what have you. And then he said it's something like when a warrior breathes his last breath, and he's going on this other heartfelt stuff or whatever. And the next day, that morning, they found Ultimate Warrior dead. He died of a heart attack. So it's like, make sure you get everything out as it goes or whatever, and don't hold too many grudges or anything like that, because you're never going to know when you're going to be able to if even to apologize. A lot of people, you know, I do have grudges towards people, and a lot of them I just don't give two shits about. But there's a couple that, you know, I'd like to call up and go, "Hey man, you know, sorry I did this or sorry I did that to you. I'm just getting it out because, you know, I might not be able to have ever have the chance again, or that they could die and then I could never get a chance for talking to them, or they, you know, vice versa." And it's stuff like that you read about. Once you get when you're younger, you're like, yeah, it's not going to happen to me. You know, you're invincible. You know, I could take a ramp off the fucking roof and land on my ass and still walk away from it. Now it's like I can't even stand up without bones cracking.
Right. Well, that's when you're a kid, you're young and naive and dumb.
Exactly.
And then you start getting older, you start realizing like everything your parents said was mostly true. Not all of it, but a lot of it.
Yeah.
Started to realize that with my dad, my mom a lot, and you know.
Well, see, what's good about your parents is your parents were there for you. Your parents gave you, you know, a lot of positive reinforcement. You know, a lot of kids' parents is just they couldn't parent. They were pieces of crap.
They didn't want to parent, or the ones that did parent, they didn't know how to parent, and their way of parenting was like being disciplined or yelling at the kids or doing whatever. So
exactly.
What I've learned about that too is you know, as I've gotten older, you know, I call my mom and dad every day because there might be a day they're not there. And I'm going to be really upset when that day comes, like anybody who loses parents or anything like that, if you actually, you know, have a good relationship with your parents. And my wife always asks me, she's like, you know, there's a guy, I've never seen a guy who calls and talks to their parents every day on the phone. I was like, you know what? We live next to your parents, so you get to go down and hang out with them all the fucking time. You get to see them every day. I don't see my parents every day. I mean, so my effort is I call my mom and dad every day to make sure, see how they're doing, check up on them. Is there anything I could do for them once in a while? Not all the time, because, you know, I can't. There's probably a laundry list of things my parents want me to do all the time, but I can't. And the reality is, it's like I just want to talk to my parents, see how they're doing. Like, I try to shoot the shit. Sometimes I call them and we don't talk about nothing. And sometimes we talk on the phone for a long time. But I make an effort every day, you know, because my parents are older and we never know when our last day on earth is going to be. So why not call them? I mean, what's the harm? It takes you 5 minutes to call to talk to someone on the phone. I don't call you every day, but we text every day.
Right.
I call you every day, but, you know, are always hanging out with Jen right now, and she's, you know, here, so I don't want to bother you when you're talking to the warden.
It's the glory of that.
Huh?
That's the glory of that.
I call my wife the warden, too.
But yeah. Any final thought?
You know, final thoughts, besides our last day of going out and playing with friends and doing stuff is, I would just say, you know, through our off-the-cuff podcast, this one, it seems like we had some really good topics. I just like to see people be more social, be more interactive as time goes on in this year. I hope this year's a better year for most people. And I think people need to get outside and do more shit. I think that's just what it is, dude. I mean, I get outside with my kids all the time now. I actually enjoy. I mean, obviously the weather is really nice right now when I get outside. But there's a time I didn't care about going outside at all. It's like, oh, cool, it's outside. It's like, if there's a nice day, I'd be driving my car. It's like, oh, it's great outside. But as soon as I got home, it's like I just wanted to go inside.
Yeah.
And now I work from home, so I want to go outside all the time. And maybe that's the thing. It's like when I was out and about all the time, I was always outside. Now I'm never outside or whatever. But as I've gotten older, I'm outside all the time. And I think that's good for your mental health. Just step outside every day. I mean, you don't have to be out there fucking, building something or doing something. Or just get outside and get some fresh air and get some sun and just, hey, we're alive. Like, enjoy that you're alive and you have your health and you might have some issues or whatever, but you still have something, whatever is going on in your life. At least you have that going for you. There could be way worse. I always try to look at that too. Like, try to be more positive about stuff. But, final thoughts. Oh no, I thought it was a good podcast. Some good topics.
Very good topic.
I mean, most of them are just off the cuff, random. Didn't
Could
really have
do more
any,
of those.
huh?
Could do more of those.
Yeah, I like doing these because it's just we can talk about whatever, and it doesn't have to be a certain topic the entire time. But I like.
Because we get off topics so much, we shouldn't even have a main topic
Well,
anymore.
the main topics give us some structure,
Yeah,
things
yeah.
to talk about, think about, whatever. And I didn't have anything really, I guess, that I really wanted to discuss. It was just more things randomly that's come up, and I was like, hey, this would be something cool to discuss on the podcast. Besides your mom and Kevin Smith and
Double-edged swords.
double-edged swords and Kevin Smith. But overall, yeah, it was a good podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Obviously, same thing we always say.
Stay scared.
No, I stay scared. Like and follow. Give us some feedback on our podcast. Subscribe to us. Nobody ever gives us feedback. What the fuck, guys? Come on.
Yeah, come on, man. Just give us. Even if you tell me to fuck off, I don't care.
I don't care
Something.
either. We've got to at least have 10 or 5 people that listen to this and they're like, hey, your podcast sucks. I don't even care. Just say that so we can laugh. Like,
Right.
I'll just.
Or, hey, I was here. Or hey, I listened until
Hey,
2 minutes and 15 seconds of it.
I made it 15 minutes and you guys sucked. Like, I don't
Right.
care what it says.
I made it through the ads. Here I am.
The ads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Demonetize, just whatever. I don't give a fuck, dude. Even just an exclamation point.
Mm-hmm.
If you got here to listen to not listen to us, then okay.
Remember, kids, until next time, stay scared.
Hey, that's my line, and you fuck it up every time.
Remember, kitties, stay scared. That's mine now.
Oh, that's yours now.
I every time on your Facebook, the last week I've had to fucking bite my tongue and my fingers from typing this out. But when one of the other people have been say like, "Hey, good morning," and it's whatever, I want to put a "Good morning, kitties." Stay, or I want to say "Good morning, kitties," like you do, or whatever. Is that what you usually say?
Yeah, that was good morning, kid. It's
yeah,
it's like the Good Morning Vietnam thing.
I noticed, and I want to say that on there, but I want to and be like, "What are you doing?"
But
Knock
knock it off.
Huh?
That's why when you put my name on it last night, I was like, what?
Yeah. I saw that what question or whatever, and I was like, I thought she was like, what? Like, who are you talking about, whatever.
No, that was me.
I know it was. You're answering for her because they're probably getting tired. Do
Well, because I saw your name, I was like, what do you put? And then I saw what you put, and I was like, oh.
Do you get a notification every time someone posts on there?
Anytime anybody posts on there, unless 2 people posted around the same time,
So every time you post, you know it's me? You get a notification on your phone?
I'll see your name, yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, okay. I gotta
Well, not
look at
just you,
this.
it's just anybody.
Uh-huh.
But if I'm not paying attention to it or whatever, I'll just say.
Do you ever get a group text like, why is your cousin saying this or whatever like this? Or,
No.
No, that's good.
I usually put stuff on, like last night she was doing requests and one of the newer admins answered one of them, and she's like, "Don't do that because that's my I needed to know what people were requesting, and if you take the notification, I don't know there is a request, so I'll go on there, my bad, I just saw my cousin's name, I want to give him shit or whatever, and she's like, oh no, not you, Evan, he actually answered somebody's thing. I'm like, oh yeah, Evan, don't touch our shit.
Yeah, don't do that, Evan. You hear that?
Yeah,
So that's it. Anything else you want to say?
I'm
or
good.
add? No, you're not good.
I'm always good.
All right, well, get outside, kiddies. It's nice. It's 60.
Finally.
It's gonna be 70 degrees out in Missouri.
Fucking barbecue this weekend.
Yeah, I've drove by a couple times early in the morning, like on Sunday morning. I was driving somewhere, bringing Lincoln to hockey or baseball or something like that, and there was some guy already grilling. It was 7 o'clock in the morning. I could smell the barbecue. I was like, man,
Same here.
it smells good. You got people around you barbecuing already?
I wish some fucking neighbor would barbecue because he's got a smoker outside and that shit smells good.
Does he?
Across the creek.
Mm-hmm.
Across the creek. I barbecued once already so far. Shit was good. Found a new way to marinate chicken.
Nice.
poke holes in it and marinate it in Italian dressing.
I watched this one guy, and I don't know, shut the fuck up and end the podcast. Is,
Yeah, you should do that first.
this guy I found on Instagram, he's some like Oriental Asian guy or whatever, and he always takes like a fork and like plugs like a million holes in chicken, and then he makes the craziest chicken dishes, and they're always look amazing. I'm like, I want to fucking eat this, and he always like takes a huge bite of it at the end when he's done cooking.
Yeah, I know what you're about.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And it just always looks phenomenal. I'm like, why does he poke the holes in it? Is it supposed to let it breathe more or something? What does it do? Cook a bit better?
Yeah,
Or make it more tender?
Well, for one, it makes it tender. Two, it also gets more heat in there, so it heats faster.
Okay.
And so it tastes better.
That makes sense.
And sometimes, depending on what kind of chicken or who you get it from, it's poking the holes in there. It gets rid of all the like extra like juices and stuff like that. And if you marinate it with something like I do, like I said, with the Italian dressing,
Soaks in butter?
So it gets in there.
Nice.
It gets in the middle, not just the top.
Like you do your mom.
Yeah, basically.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, kiddies. Until next time,
Stay scared always.
stay scared. Subscribe to Tim. Follow him on his.
Stay subscribed. Stay liked.
Stay liked.
Give us some shit, man.
Somebody, please. It's one of Tim's friends that does. I don't even know. Just comment and say I suck. Something, please.
Right.
See ya.
Latest.